high school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, backed by the Duke.
Lake down.
Now.
It's 7 a.m.
It's 7 a.m. Time for the opening drive.
Voted the best sports show in New Mexico.
For 5 years running. It's the OD in the AM with Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck.
Josh Lambo hit his mark this time. Late night breaking news in the NFL. If you went to sleep, you're probably ready to wake up to more Urban Meyer jokes this morning. Well, the jokes are still there. However, Urban Meyer was fired in the night as head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Owner Shad Khan finally said, you know what? This might have been a mistake. This might not have been the best thing to do for this franchise. So after 13 games, a 2-11 record, Urban Meyer no longer the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. What it do, everyone? Welcome into the opening drive. Good Thursday morning to you. JJ Buck, A. Marie, our quarterback, Ned James, with you this morning here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. The writing was on the wall. It was just going to be, is the owner willing to admit his mistake in this situation, and when was it going to be? The stories, well, you could no longer ignore them. They were adding up, whether it was the stuff coming out about his assistants and questioning their resumes, what happened, flying back home after a game, NFL coaches, you just don't do that, man. You just don't do that. And then Josh Lambo, a storied kicker for the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're talking about a kicker, not a quarterback, a kicker. But one, Josh Lambo, shared what was the final story to come out, at least now, about then Jacksonville Jaguars head coach Urban Meyer, and it relates to an issue in preseason. Josh Lambo, the fourth most accurate kicker in NFL history. One of the best players in franchise history for the Jaguars. He's struggling a little bit in the preseason.
Yeah.
Missed a couple field goals in the preseason, and he shared a story that in training camp, quote, I'm in a lunge position, left leg forward, right leg back. Urban Meyer, while I'm in that stretch position, comes up to me and says, hey, bleep, make your bleeping kicks, and kicks me in the leg.
You got to talk to the kids. It's the first rule in Yaffle. You got to talk to the kids. You can't put your hands on the kids in Yaffle football. And then you work your way up to high school, then you go to college. Then you get to the NFL, and you can't hit the kids. Urban Meyer, I think maybe it was the intimidation, maybe it was the insecurity of being a first-year head coach, whatever it was. He kind of lost himself. He lost his mind. He probably understands that what he did was wrong, and he shouldn't have done that. And I'm not excusing it, but at the same time, he has to understand that. Being in charge doesn't necessarily mean you have to be intimidating. You don't have to have this persona in the NFL, particularly because guys don't really necessarily pay attention to
No one's
any
going
of
to be
that.
scared of you in the NFL.
Yeah. Well, the kicker is going to be a scary because that's the only guy you probably can take in the NFL.
Can actually kick and nothing's going to happen.
So he probably figured, the kicker is one I could probably
get away with.
Have a chance of winning the fight against. So I'm gonna go after the kicker. I'm not gonna.
Heart might give out.
Yeah, the punter, the kicker, and the quarterback, the worst athletes on the NFL roster. But this situation with Urban, in the NFL, being in the NFL, and I understand coming from college. When you come from college to the NFL, you have this insecurity because the players remind you that this ain't college. They remind you quick that this ain't college, and you almost have to kind of earn your stripes with them. I mean, a lot of people think that just because you're a great college coach, you could be Nick Saban, you can win national championships, and I was with a national championship coach when I went to the
You've
NFL for the first time.
experienced this firsthand.
So I've experienced it first. So I have a little bit of sympathy for them that other people may not, only because
if you're watching on ProView, that's a big old zero.
yeah, because a lot of people are jumping on this.
Any of these stories
on the bandwagon of
80% true.
Right.
Zero sympathy.
Right.
He brought everything upon himself. I have
because of the salary. People get upset. Oh, he's
not
making
the
this
salary. It's a ridiculous move from start to finish. It's these owners that think they know everything, and this is another one of those situations where average Joe on the street could make a better coaching hire than the Jacksonville Jaguars did with Urban Meyer in that situation.
That's every owner in the NFL. And they don't know.
And Shad Khan now sitting there after midnight Eastern going, well, I guess got to fire Urban Meyer now on a Wednesday night. Yeah. And this is one. It's just so many things. Like, you could just see this wasn't going to work out from the start, whether it was him getting fined because he was already doing OTAs wrong, bringing in Tim Tebow, which we all saw that was going to be an absolute disaster. You brought it up. He's like, well, he needed a friend in the room. I don't know, make friends with your teammates or your players. Treat your assistant coach better so they have your back in those situations. Mm-hmm. But he absolutely destroyed every relationship in that locker room. He destroyed every relationship with the assistant coaches. He hired that staff.
Yeah.
And then he goes after them, and there's stories that staff after this season was already like ready to bounce. Like, how does it go that bad that fast?
Well, in defense of Urban, these guys knew going into this job who Urban was. It's not like they just showed up at the job site. Oh, Dios mío, this guy is lunatic. No, Urban Meyer comes with this baggage. He all the staffs he's ever been with have said these things about him as a head coach. And so I don't empathize too much with how he is because the reputation of coaches.
Up for it.
Yeah, guys sign up for it, and they're rewarded handsomely. But, at the same time, you shouldn't feel threatened in your workplace. I think the insecurity of coming from college and expecting to have this reverence from the players was, I guess frustrating for Urban Meyer because you don't
handle it so poorly. Like, it's not
because and I said this last night. I was talking with Trio on Trio's show. The old adage, and coaches all hear this around the country, is when you're in college, when you're a college coach, the kids look up to you. When you're in the NFL, the players look down on you as the coach. So it's a little bit different dynamic.
How do they not?
Because a lot of college coaches will not go to the NFL for that specific reason, because they don't want to work with. They ask me, even when I talk to coaches around here, how do you coach a guy who makes more money than you? How do you? It's just the coaching mind. They can't fathom the thought that someone is on their level, either intellectually or financially, and they have to teach and train and are responsible for their decisions and what they do through the course of the game, because Urban's putting it on those coaches when the players aren't performing. And that's a part of the coach's responsibility. When coach, as an example, Danny Gonzalez, when he goes into his office, he's looking at his coaches and his staff and saying, well, why are my guys making mistakes? Is it because you're not teaching them well, or we're not coaching them well enough? Did you pick the wrong kid when you recruited them? It's all those things. And Urban's been used to handling coaches and players in that manner. Now you go to the NFL where you think you can go over and solve an issue with a player. Well, now you're dealing with agents. Now you're dealing with a guy who's a veteran who probably understands the position a lot better than you think you understand it. And so you're dealing with all those different dynamics. And sometimes it gets I just remember from my experience with a former national championship, just as good a coach as Urban Meyer, going into the NFL, but we had the benefit of having someone on the staff that the head coach could trust, who had coached with him before. So he kept that staff member who could help him. Because a quick story, I just remember being at a staff meeting, and pro coaches are different. We had one of the greatest offensive line coaches, God rest his soul, Howard Mudd. in the history of the NFL on our staff. And I just remember being at a staff meeting. I'm just trying to sap up every bit of knowledge I can get from these guys, these veteran NFL guys, and these national championship college coaches. And I'm sitting there, and I'll always remember this. Dennis Erickson was a great college coach, offensive mind, and he's diagramming an offensive play. And a veteran NFL coach looks at a national championship coach and tells him, you run that in this league, and they'll take that and they'll stick it up your you-know-what. And he said it in a derogatory manner to the head coach. Like, that's how these NFL guys are. These guys are professionals at their craft, and darn good ones. Dennis Erickson goes into his office, and thank God we had a staff member who had worked with this particular offensive line coach and knew how great he was. And he knew Dennis as well, so he follows Dennis in his office. Because Dennis is going to his office to fire the guy. He's going to his office to draw up the papers. And this is a legendary coach. But it's those kind of things because, Dennis, you ain't going to talk to me like that. I'm the head coach. You're going to tell me they're going to stick it up my – wait, I've been coaching. I'm older, just as old as you, and I'm coaching. But those are the kind of dynamics that are involved in coaching, in any business for that matter.
Now we know that's the case. We've seen it so many times, from Butch Davis to Steve Spurrier, to Nick Saban, to Bobby Petrino, to Chip Kelly. It should be no surprise that a coach going from college straight to the NFL, it just is not going to work if you don't have that mindset. And to your point, Ned, that story happened, 30 years ago?
Yeah, 30 years ago.
And yet we're still trying to act like these college coaches don't know that.
But not all college coaches fail. It's just hard, JJ. It's hard, but it's fair.
They know that. And Urban Meyer did absolutely nothing to have anyone on his side from start to finish. He's done in Jacksonville. No surprise. But now we turn our attention to Trevor Lawrence. Because guess who has not played good football? Trevor Lawrence. He has not been good this year. There haven't been many moments where the number one overall pick in the NFL draft has even flashed. Yeah, it's a bad team. We get it, struggling roster. But Urban Meyer, being such a disaster, has actually kept the pressure off of Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
And now the final 4 weeks of the season, you're going to look and say, all right, that mess is gone. That distraction is out of the locker room. You're going to be able to pop a little bit because Trevor Lawrence has a lot of work to do, and we can no longer now look at Urban Meyer and say, well, he tanked. Trevor Lawrence.
But he's a rookie. I mean, you can't really say that he's tanked. I mean, Troy Aikman's in the Hall of Fame. He went 1-15 his first year.
Not for long, Ned.
Yeah. But
we're not here to talk about what happens 5 years from now. We're talking about what's happening right now. And you can get involved. Quan's Auto Care hotline is 246-0610. Sports Animal text line is 505-246-0610. We got head coach Danny Gonzalez, the Lobo football, joining us at 8 a.m. this morning. It was early signing period yesterday. The Lobos added 24 players with room for more. So we'll talk about the class and just what it's like this year as opposed to last year in signing players and getting to know the recruits before you bring them on campus. Coming up at 8:30, Jerry Palm, CBS Sports, is going to join us. We'll talk about some of the college coaching moves that occurred as of late and get ready for bowl season. It kicks off Friday, first Saturday. Got you covered, PUBG Mobile New Mexico Bowl. Also got another pair of tickets to give away to that today. So much to do. It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
dreaming about that brand new Subaru? You know which one you want, but have you been able to really drive one yet? Whether you're online at fiestasubaru.com or ready to get out and drive the real thing, our Subarus are sanitized and ready to drive. There's never been a better time to fall in love with your new Subaru. So get driving now at Fiesta Subaru on Lomas or online at fiestasubaru.com to schedule your real test drive.
I'm Ben Lucero, president and owner of Indigo Mortgage. We are a locally owned and operated mortgage company right here in New Mexico. This means your loan officers and processors are right here to serve you. Our mortgage divisions include residential, commercial, construction, reverse mortgages, and VA mortgage loan. Indigo Mortgage, because nobody cares more about your mortgage loan.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Dream Style Roofing tops them all. When your roof's worn out and needs to be replaced, we're gonna do it right, put a smile on your face. They're at home, things are looking up when you get your roof done by someone you can trust. Dream Style, a company name that's been around forever. No one does it better. You need a new roof, you know who to call. Dream Style Roofing tops them all.
Hi, I'm Joe with Everguard Roofing and Solar, and I'm proud to say I'm standing next to our University of New Mexico Lobo football quarterback, Terry Wilson. We at Everguard Roofing and Solar are active in our community, and we love the Lobos.
What I love about Everguard Roofing and Solar is their commitment to excellence, and that's what I'm all about. That's why I support this company, because they care about the people of New Mexico.
A hole in your roof or a whole new roof?
Go Lobos!
Everguard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
The energy landscape is limitless and ever-changing. Cleaner energy resources are crucial to New Mexico's environment. For 100 years, PNM has utilized cutting-edge technology and employed hard-working New Mexicans to ensure that we have consistent, reliable energy when we need it. For life's loudest moments, quietest moments, and every moment in between. We're dedicated to providing you with energy now and into the future. All you have to do is dream of what to do with it next.
So since 2000, first time NFL head coaches coming right out of college, there is 2. Make it 3.
Since 2000?
Since 2000.
Okay.
There's 3 coaches with a winning NFL record being hired straight out of college. Can you name them?
3 coaches since 2000 to come out of college. You said 3, not 2.
3.
3. To come out of college straight to the NFL and have a winning record as a NFL coach.
And 2 of them ultimately ended up.
Pete Carroll?
Pete Carroll was before that.
Oh.
Before 2000.
Oh, before.
No, he wasn't.
No, he wasn't. So he has to be one of them.
He's not on this list.
I'm assuming Pete Carroll.
Because it wasn't his first time.
Yeah, he
coached
been
in
an
New
NFL
England.
head coach.
Chip Kelly.
Chip Kelly is one that had a winning record despite it not ending well in Philadelphia.
All right, so Pete Carroll, Chip Kelly, and
Well, Pete Carroll's not on this list
Oh,
because
well,
he had coached before.
Yeah,
in
that's
the
true.
NFL.
That's true. That's true. Okay, let's see.
Yeah, see, it's hard. It ain't easy.
Was it Nick?
Ooh, this is a fun game.
No. Nick was 2 games below 500.
Harbaugh.
Yep. Ding, ding, ding. Jim Harbaugh.
That's right. I forgot Harbaugh was
Even
though he was
got it done in
Did I
San
get it all?
Francisco. And there's one more. Probably never get it because it did not end well. Because he started Tom Savage over this rookie quarterback and benched Tom Savage at halftime.
Tom Savage was a quarterback?
Exactly. It is Bill O'Brien.
Oh,
Houston
shoot.
Texans.
Okay,
Who
I would have
actually was
not guessed that.
52 and 48 overall, going from Penn State to Houston.
All right, got 2 of them.
Yeah, but he was an NFL guy before that.
But the head coaching position, names on this list, mentioned Butch Davis, Steve Spurrier, Nick Saban. Bobby Petrino was a 13-game guy.
Yeah, Bobby was a good
3-10. He's the one that left the note right in the Falcons locker room. He's like, he wrote a note and printed out 53 copies,
and he
had an assistant leave it in the locker.
He decided to give a marketing director a motorcycle ride.
And, it didn't get better even when he went back to college. Greg Schiano. I forgot about Greg Schiano's tenure in Tampa Bay.
Rutgers, yeah, that's right.
There's that. Doug Marrone. Syracuse to the Bills.
I coached Doug Marrone in that.
Now, there's a couple. There's one that could still be pretty good. Cliff Kingsbury.
That's right. He was under 500 in college.
Yeah.
He couldn't and got an NFL head coach.
So the last 3 were Cliff Kingsbury, Matt Rule, who's 10 and 19. Getting a little dicey now that they can't figure out the quarterback position. It was someone going to miss in Sam Darnold this season. And, of course, Urban Meyer.
It's the quarterback's fault. He's not winning.
He doesn't have
the
one.
Quarterback's fault.
We got Cam Newton. It's always it's a quarterback and head coach. Now, do you know this? You're a quarterback and a coach.
I know. The most overrated position in
the
sports,
only 2 positions in sports that have a win-loss record attached to them.
Yeah.
It's either you're a head coach or a quarterback.
Yeah.
No one's talking about
the right guards.
Chris Paul's career record.
Yeah.
No one's sitting there talking about Deion Sanders
and
what his record was. It's head coach and the quarterback. The Urban Meyer officially out in Jacksonville. It's just because the stories are so outrageous. It's not just this bad. It goes from kicking
insane.
the kicker to bringing in Tim Tebow, which we all knew was going to be a disaster. Alienate
Tim
yourself.
Tebow.
I know. He's like, oh, you're going to give me a chance? Yeah, Herb. Yeah, Herb. And you brought it up, Ned. The writing was
bar
on the wall.
incident.
And the people that signed up to go with him, that's who I don't have any sympathy for. Because you knew what you were signing up for. Yeah. All those assistant coaches that now, after the fact, are going to be like, oh, let's get out of here. And so I have my best friend. I don't know why, but he is a Jaguars fan.
My sister is a Jaguars.
My cousin's a Jaguar fan.
My sister and my dad and I just laughed because she would not go to the games when I was coaching because she says, I can't cheer against the Jaguars. I'd take her out to dinner the night before. I said, Dad, what's wrong with this girl? Like, one game or 2 games, this is family. And she was on the committee.
The Jaguars.
She was on the committee when they first moved to
like
Jacksonville.
The biggest Mark Brunell fan.
And she's not even she wasn't even a sports fan growing up as a kid. We grew up in the same house, so she didn't even like sports. But she likes the Jaguars. That's it. No other team.
But it's just it's funny that the teams that you end up following as a fan. But I was talking with him last night, and he laid it out, and it's. He sent me this message, and I was like, that's 100% correct. He's like, Urban Meyer is dealing with grown men that get paid, not high school grads that need to play ball to keep their scholarship. And it had that attitude, like, I can come in here, and they're going to look up to me because they best know who's running it in the room. And there's a difference between getting people's respect and then being Urban Meyer.
He sounds like a college coach, your friend. Because that's what college coaches say. No, guys want to be coached. Pro guys are no different than college or high school or Yaffa. They want to be coached. They want to be treated fairly. Everybody wants to be treated fairly, and everybody wants to be respected. Now, that it's a two-way street, and sometimes they cross the line both, and it happens on all levels. And so that's why, you just have to be careful when you're talking about, how he was treating these pro athletes. He probably did the same thing in college, and some high school coaches do the same type of things, and you can't condone that behavior on any level. It's just that, it caught up with him. It finally caught up with him, and who knows why he's frustrated? Who knows what he's going through? I just know from experience that, these things, don't happen in a vacuum. There's all kinds of issues that are surrounding why this behavior happens. And
like, I'm at the point where, like, we've seen what Urban Meyer has done. Yeah, you were a great college coach, but it was messy at Florida.
Yes, it was.
It wasn't like all those recruits were great.
Yeah.
And how it ended. It was messy at Ohio State with your assistant coaches and how it ended. And then to think all of a sudden it was going to change in the NFL just because, we're the Jaguars going to try to do something different, yada, yada, yada. Nah. Yeah. 246-0610 is Equan's Auto Care Hotline. Tommy, you're on the opening drive. What's up, Tommy? How you doing this morning?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you guys?
Doing good, man.
I was willing to give him, the benefit of the doubt for the first 3 games just to see how he would do. But then all the behavior stuff and all the weird stuff started coming out and saying how devastated that he was at losses and just his mannerisms and his facial expressions and the way he was acting. And I said, this doesn't look too good. And then it just got worse and worse and worse. And maybe this is stuff he got away with in college. I don't think you can get away with that now because look what happened with Ed Ogeron and LSU. I mean, you got to behave a certain way. But it's even more around grown-ass men. You have to behave a certain way. And you got to earn their respect. And if he would have just been the type of guy, and there's no excuses for what he did, just to say, I would love to hear him say, you know what, this is all on me. Everything's on me. I'm the head coach. Whatever decisions I make are on me. Don't blame my other coaches. Blame me because I'm here and I took this job and I knew I was getting into. But he never did do that. He seems like he always wanted to push blame in other areas. So, yeah, he's gone. And now I really want to see – I'm not going to throw Trevor Lawrence to the Hounds. I want to see how he plays now without him because I don't think he's a bust yet. He's just too talented of a quarterback coming out of Clemson. Let's see how he does the last 4 games. But he also got to get talent around him, now a new coach and taking over things. But the question I have for both of you is this. Colleges are changing. They're not going to take certain behaviors anymore, and they shouldn't, in high schools and all that other stuff. And even if he goes back in the booth, are they going to look at him? And, of course, I think they're going to look at him a different way now because of all this stuff. Will he get another college job in the future? He probably will. Not maybe this year. Maybe he should take a year off, chill out. Will he still get another college offer in the future? He probably will, but are they going to look at him differently now? And what about being back in the booth? Is that going to be a possibility? Or are they going to say, hey, we don't know about you because of your behavior? I want to get both of your opinions on that. And you guys have a great day. Have a good one.
Will he be back in the booth? Yes. Would someone hire him again? Yes. Because we've seen this over and over and over again. All it takes is one booster with the money in a certain college town that goes, this Urban Meyer guy's available. Here's a check. What do you think?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's America, capitalism. Guys think, that's why he was hired in the first place. He came with baggage, and the Jaguars still hired him. So I mean, it's just a matter of what the perception is of that ownership group or whoever owns that university and who they believe should be the face of their organization or their program. And obviously, he's got the face, he's got the look.
It's about who you know.
No, it's about who knows you.
Who knows you?
And so a lot of times,
plenty of dudes.
You'd be surprised how guys get a job.
Yeah.
It's kind of a popularity test. Sometimes it's not what you know; it's who you know. But
and by the way, Urban Meyer was a big part of the search for Colorado State's coach when they hired Steve Addazio. And Colorado State already has a new coach. Maybe at some point in time, you just got to realize, all right, you've won a lot. We got to stop listening to
the good old boy network.
The good old boy network will always get you in trouble. That's our quarterback, Ned James. Amory, JJ Buck with you on ProView Networks. Adrian producing and catch the show on ProView Networks, also streaming online. You can always find it to facebook.com/theodintheam, our Facebook page. But follow ProView Networks. See the schedule, everything they got going on, covering all the high school sports and more here in New Mexico. It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal.
New Mexico Department of Game and Fish reminds every
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number one in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
Dreaming about that brand new Subaru? You know which one you want, but have you been able to really drive one yet? Whether you're online at fiestasubaru.com or ready to get out and drive the real thing, our Subarus are sanitized and ready to drive. There's never been a better time to fall in love with your new Subaru. So get driving now at Fiesta Subaru on Lomas or online at fiestasubaru.com to schedule your real test drive.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sports shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
I prefer to do stuff online. I can find things much quicker, do the research I need, and have it shipped or waiting for me to pick up. The Shop by Payments option was perfect for me. I got online, clicked on Shop by Payments, put in my down payment and monthly budget, and the guessing was done. From laptop, I was able to nail down the bike I wanted, add a few customizations, and get an estimate on my trade-in.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop. Santa Paws has left thousands of holiday gifts for your furry, scaly, and winged family members. Pick up a gift for a pet lover or even a new pet. Clark's has shelves full of pet beds, sweaters, toys and treats, habitats and tanks galore. Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations for all your pet needs. 11200 Manal Northeast or 4914 Lomas Northeast. Clark's is celebrating 50 years. Thanks to you, the Christmas Superstore. ClarksPets.com.
I'm attorney Mo Maestas. I just want to wish all the athletes, coaches, and families a very Merry Christmas this holiday season. Be sure to play hard, play through the clock, and have a great time with your teammates. I've been a trial lawyer in this town for 23 years, so you can get a hold of me at 505-304-7497. But have a very Merry Christmas. God bless. We'll see you in the new year.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
A burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds. International Protective Service is your answer.
The people want to know, Ned.
Yes, give the people what they want.
Did Dennis Erickson run the play and did it actually work?
it wasn't necessarily a play. It was a philosophy. Coming from college, there's certain things there's certain types of plays that you like to run, certain systems that you like to use that work in college. And I know a lot of people who follow football realize that in high school, college, and in the NFL, the hash marks are different. It was an interesting thing that happened when I was in Tennessee with Norm Chow, who's probably arguably one of the greatest offensive minds in college football history from BYU. He always wondered why the ball was always considered in the middle of the field. He says, well, it's on the right hash now. I said, well, it doesn't matter in the NFL because the hash marks are so close. You call your offensive plays as if the ball's in the middle of the field because there's no boundary and no field side, which is used a lot in college football. And so the style of play that you use in college is a little bit different than in the pros because of the short side of the field and the wide side of the field.
Did they ever talk about why that is? Like why college the hash marks are wider?
Well,
just because?
It's just because the game's evolved, and it's evolved from, not even having sidelines where they used to put the ball and the ball was like maybe 1 yard off the sideline. They would take 2 steps and spot the ball from the sideline to these hash marks.
Yeah.
So, and Dennis was, he basically was one of the pioneers in the one-back offense, the no-back offense, and spread offense in college football. And so that's how he won national championships at Miami, and it got him the job from Laramie, Wyoming. How I was able to get a job with him because I played against him in college, and he went from Washington State to Miami, and then eventually into the NFL. And so he was trying to incorporate this style of offense. And you got a Howard Mudd offensive line guy who's the team at the time had one of the top rushing games in college football. He was with Ground Chuck and Chuck Knox and the old Rams who ran the football. And Dennis was going through this, hey, here's how we're going to do this one back, no back stuff. And Howard looks at him, because he's the offensive line coach. He's teaching guys how to block, these blitzes that are going to be coming at him like Alabama did to him in that national championship game. And he says, you try to run that stuff in this league.
Team's going to get blown up.
And you're going to get it, run up somewhere you don't
Bigger,
like.
Bigger, faster, stronger.
Yeah. And so, but it's just that, NFL, and it's not this arrogance of the NFL coach. It's just that the knowledge a lot of these guys played in the NFL, then they moved from playing into coaching, and the really good ones become renowned. And Howard Mudd was one of the most renowned offensive line coaches in the college football, in the pro football game, excuse me. But Dennis, here I am. I'm a national championship coach. He's never had a guy talk to him like that. Assistant coach, at least, talk to him in that manner. And, so he goes in his office, he's drawing up the papers to fire the guy. But luckily we had Bratkowski, who had coached with both. He knew Howard's mannerisms, and he knew, Dennis's.
Howard was just trying to let him know, you run that, it ain't going to work out well.
It was more of a personality conflict than it was a, disrespectful type thing with Howard, and it eventually worked out, and we eventually did okay. But it was still, the players. I told the story about Cortez Kennedy, who's a NFL MVP, defensive MVP, and he had played at Miami, but he didn't play for Dennis. And so, the loyalty thing, and that's why, Urban Meyer brought in a Tim Tebow, and I said this at the time. I said, it's you got to have guys in the locker room that have your back, and that may not seem like a big thing, but that's no different in business.
Not when it's Tim
business
Tebow.
People do the same thing. Yeah. People in organizations and business do the same. Right. That's why they hire their buddies. That's why they hire people that they know, so they can have people watch their back. And that's what happened. Dennis was there, and Cortez Kennedy. We're coming off a plane after a 2-game losing streak. In front of the media, in front of newspaper and everybody else, he turns around, looks at all of us coming off the plane. He says, "This is the reason why we can't win the game. We got too many friggin' college coaches on our staff." And so you're like, look, like here's a player saying it to you, where you would never normally have a college kid or a high school kid say that to his coach. So,
well, Urban Meyer did himself no favors either in trying to win over the locker room. So it happened late last night, and people are wondering, was this? Fire an NFL head coach. It's never a news dump. You can never do it on a day, and it's not going to be a national storyline. But Shad Khan, his son, is part ownership in AEW wrestling. Mm-hmm. So Shad Khan was at a wrestling event last night. And so once the event was over, it's when the decision was made. All right, we're going to fire Urban Meyer. I got it. Let's move on. So he went to the wrestling show, enjoyed it, And then after the fact, he got in his private plane and was like, all right, we can fire Urban Meyer now. There's just too much coming out. So Urban Meyer does join a list of 3 other coaches with 13 game stints. So it's Urban Meyer, Bob Petrino, and we put our pants on the same way they do. Lou Holtz. Lou Holtz was 3-10 with the New York Jets back in the day.
Gosh.
Got fired. This ain't Notre Dame anymore, buddy.
Yeah. And, Lou Holtz, no one cares that you're Lou Holtz. No one cares that you won national championship.
I can't do a
That's
Lou
the
Holtz.
one thing, too, that
I sound like a...
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
That's the one thing I learned when you come to the NFL. It happened with Ricky Williams when I was in New Orleans. And Ricky was larger than life. People don't remember, coming out of college, he was larger than life.
Well, then they traded like 84 draft picks for him.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so he shows up, and I'll never forget this because he came to a team meeting, and he signed this ridiculous incentive-laden contract. And it's a business. And guys understand, these guys are CEOs of themselves, these players. And you may not think that they're the smartest guys, but one thing guys that aren't smart can do is they can count money. They know how to count money. So all they care about is did you get paid? And so Ricky thinks that they care about his Maxwell Award, his Heisman Trophy, all that. And so he thinks he's he's a cat's meow. So he walks into this team meeting, and he thinks everybody's going to be here's Ricky Williams. Those veteran players looked at him and said, "You stupid idiot signing that stupid incentive letter. You sit your rookie behind up front with the rest of the rookies. And don't come." And I mean, these are veteran Wayne Martin and some of the veteran players, sitting in the back of the room, and they're like, "You don't get to sit back here. You go sit up there with the rest of those rookies, you idiot." And Ricky's like in shock, like he thinks everybody loves him. And Ricky was a great guy. I really liked Ricky Williams. And he thinks that, well, wait a minute now. I'm a nice guy. Why are they doing this to me? But no one cares what you did in college when you get to that level. It's what have you done for us?
Absolutely. We know that. Not for long. What are you doing for me right now?
That's right.
Now what are you doing for me in 4 years?
You can take, what you can do with that Heisman Trophy? And I've cut 4 Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks when I was in the NFL. I shouldn't say I did, but the organization cut 4
Mr. Ned.
4 quarterbacks I've been involved with that got cut that won Heisman Trophy. So
there was a time when winning a Heisman was not a good omen for NFL success. There was kind of that run where you didn't necessarily have the guys that were translating well to the next level. It's like Josh White, Heupel,
the guy.
Eric
No,
Crouch.
his name wasn't Josh White, was it? Because it was Dan White. Was that the kid that was at Oklahoma? Yeah, I think it was Daniel White or something. Because we cut him. That's why I know him. Because we cut him at Tennessee. And we had Gino Toretta, who won the Heisman. I didn't even know why I was like, this guy won the Heisman. I love Danny Werfel. We met him here. He came here for the award for Teton Saltis. And Danny's one of the nicest human beings. That's who you want to marry your daughter. Just a great guy. And I was like, this guy won the Heisman Trophy. I was like, I throw better than him left-handed probably. I mean, it was just amazing seeing some of these Heisman Trophy guys that you thought were just these great players, and they're just, oh my goodness, this guy really is.
Tell us what you really felt about Baker Mayfield, Ned.
And then
that is our quarterback.
You have some guy from Norfolk State that's this great player that nobody's even heard of.
That's our quarterback, Ned James. A. Marie, J.J. Book with you. Coming up at 8 o'clock this morning, Denny Gonzalez, head football coach at the University of New Mexico. We'll talk about the 24 players they added to the program yesterday. 8 scholarships available, and hoping to add a transfer quarterback in the next month or so to bring in to compete. We'll talk with Denny Gonzalez coming up at 8 o'clock. It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
No family should lose someone they love to COVID because that.
A burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds. International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today.
The energy landscape is limitless and ever-changing. Cleaner energy resources are crucial to New Mexico's environment. For 100 years, PNM has utilized cutting-edge technology and employed hard-working New Mexicans to ensure that we have consistent, reliable energy when we need it. For life's loudest moments, quietest moments, and every moment in between. We're dedicated to providing you with energy now and into the future. All you have to do is dream of what to do with it next.
Dream Style Roofing tops them all. When your roof's worn out and needs to be replaced, we're gonna do it right, put a smile on your face. There at home, things are looking up when you get your roof done by someone you can trust. Dream Style, a company name that's been around forever. No one does it better. You need a new roof, you know who to call. Dream Style Roofing tops them all.
Jackson Compaction wants to help you keep your green. And keep the community green as well. Jackson Compaction has worked hard to maintain the same prices since day one. Always easy and painless trash removal with professional crews and quality service. If it's non-hazardous waste, debris, or trash on your land, leave it to us. At Jackson Compaction, we're dedicated to ensuring the conservation of our environment. You trash it, we smash it. Jackson Compaction, we've earned a reputation for great results.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hi, I'm Joe with Everguard Roofing and Solar, and I'm proud to say I'm standing next to our University of New Mexico Lobo football quarterback, Terry Wilson. We at Everguard Roofing and Solar are active in our community, and we love the Lobos.
What I love about Everguard Roofing and Solar is their commitment to excellence, and that's what I'm all about. That's why I support this company, because they care about the people of New Mexico.
A hole in your roof or a whole new roof?
Go Lobos.
Everguard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number one in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
I prefer to do stuff online. I can find things much quicker, do the research I need, and have it shipped or waiting for me to pick up. The Shop by Payments option was perfect for me. I got online, clicked on Shop by Payments, put in my down payment and monthly budget, and the guessing was done. From the laptop, I was able to nail down the bike I wanted, add a few customizations, and get an estimate on my trade-in.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop. Santa Paws has left thousands of holiday gifts for your furry, scaly, and winged family members. Pick up a gift for a pet lover or even a new pet. Clark's has shelves full of pet beds, sweaters, toys and treats, habitats and tanks galore. Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations for all your pet needs. 11200 Manal Northeast or 4914 Lomas Northeast. Clark's is celebrating 50 years. Thanks to you, the Christmas Superstore. ClarksPets.com.
Dreaming about that brand new Subaru? You know which one you want, but have you been able to really drive one yet? Whether you're online at fiestasubaru.com or ready to get out and drive the real thing, our Subarus are sanitized and ready to drive. There's never been a better time to fall in love with your new Subaru. So get driving now at Fiesta Subaru on Lomas or online at fiestasubaru.com to schedule your real test drive.
The energy landscape is limitless and ever-changing.
Rome. The Jim Rome Show is up next at 10, 95.9 FM and AM 610. The Sports Animal.
Another one to the list. Well, it's a team for the second time. The Christians in New Mexico State get another Power 5 victory last night. A big second-half comeback for the Aggies. They trailed 44-26 about 2 minutes into the second half in Pullman, Washington last night, taking on Washington State. And then they go on a redonkulous run in the second half, and it's a 64-61 victory for the Aggies at Washington State. So that's the second time that Chris Jans in New Mexico State have beaten Washington State. We put it on the list of Illinois, Miami. We're checking off some of those Power 5 wins. Not too shabby for your resume, and it's a good West Coast swing so far with the victory over LMU on Saturday. True road wins are nice to have, few and far between these days in college basketball, so many of the neutral site games and tournaments you see, but that was a big second half last night for New Mexico State. Turned Washington State over, a team that did a good job taking care of the basketball, and so New Mexico State improves to 9-2 on the season. I just completely blanked on that. But I was watching into that contest, and good defense. Teddy Allen stepped up. He's a bucket getter. And they left the door open just a little bit as Johnny McCants and Will McNair go 1 of 4 at the free throw line in the final 20 seconds. Washington State had an opportunity to tie the game, but clanked the shot. So there you go. Mexico State getting a victory at Washington State last night. And despite what people will tell you on Twitter, it's never good enough. Aggie fans still losing their mind about everything. You say one thing about a game, it's not a complete game rundown. And they're like, oh, so you're not going to credit them, blah, blah, blah. You can talk about it. We're here for you on the opening drive. Big victory for New Mexico State.
You got to love our little brothers to the south.
It doesn't matter what Aggies. You do, man. You could say something positive about anyone, and they'll come after you. Lobos, Aggies, you name it. It's sports, but that's why we're here. That's why we open up the microphone. So we take your calls. We take your emails. The emotion, the passion, got you covered. 246-0610 is a Quan's Auto Care hotline. You can send your text, Sports Animal text line, 505-246-0610. Your mean tweets to _ JJ Buck. I will not throw A-Marie under that bus because, you know, too many people already slide in your DMs and whatnot. So,
Kind of.
That is A-Marie holding it down. Adrian on ProView Networks. We got Danny Gonzalez coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. Lobo football head
so
coach.
Excited.
Yeah, I was out at Revel last night. A little bit for the signing day show. Good to see everyone. Just still the excitement, trying to keep the faith if you're a Lobo football fan. And this is the thing about signing days. You're excited. It's fantastic. But you won't know for at least 2 years.
Yeah, who these kids are.
If it's going to work out or not.
Yes. Hey, freshmen, go sit up front. The rest of the freshmen. We love you today, but when you get here, hey, freshmen, go sit up front with the rest of the freshmen. Coach, I thought you loved me. You said you loved me.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Now you got to go carry the bags in the building.
Now go carry these helmets for these veteran players. They're a little tired, worn out for practice today.
How about Deion Sanders?
Prime time.
At Jackson State, flipping the top cornerback commit in the nation, who was supposed to be heading to Florida State. And then prime time gets Travis Hunter, the number 1 overall prospect in the class.
I mean, if Primetime calls you, I'd probably want to come play for him too. Maybe.
Huge get. HBCUs are doing some work now.
Yeah.
Good to see.
Prime.
With the coaches.
Eddie George.
Now getting the talent.
Yeah. We'll see. Grambling, Hugh Jackson. Let's see. But they're in the South. They're the deep South. They ain't got to go far. Find some players, some ball players. It means a lot down there.
It does. And Danny Gonzalez knows it can mean a lot here in the state of New Mexico to Lobo fans. He's going to join us next. We'll talk about this year's recruiting class, but the program overall heading into year 3. It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
The energy landscape is limitless and ever-changing. Cleaner energy resources are crucial to New Mexico's environment. For 100 years, PNM has utilized cutting-edge technology and employed hard-working New Mexicans to ensure that we have consistent, reliable energy when we need it. For life's loudest moments, quietest moments, and every moment in between. We're dedicated to providing you with energy now and into the future. All you have to do is dream of what to do with it next.
I'm attorney Mo Maestas. I just want to wish all the athletes, coaches, and families a very Merry Christmas this holiday season. Be sure to play hard, play through the clock, and have a great time with your teammates. I've been a trial lawyer in this town for 23 years, so you can get a hold of me at 505-304-7497. But have a very Merry Christmas. God bless. We'll see you in the new year.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
I'm Ben Lucero, president and owner of Indigo Mortgage. We are a locally owned and operated mortgage company right here in New Mexico. This means your loan officers and processors are right here to serve you. Our mortgage divisions include residential, commercial, construction, reverse mortgages, and VA mortgage loan. Indigo Mortgage, because nobody cares more about your mortgage loan.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop. Santa Paws has left thousands of holiday gifts for your furry, scaly, and winged family members. Pick up a gift for a pet lover or even a new pet. Clark's has shelves full of pet beds, sweaters, toys and treats, habitats, and tanks galore. Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations for all your pet needs. 11200 Manal Northeast or 4914 Lomas Northeast. Clark's is celebrating 50 years. Thanks to you, the Christmas Superstore. ClarksPets.com.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Jackson Compaction wants to help you keep your green. And keep the community green as well. Jackson Compaction has worked hard to maintain the same prices since day one. Always easy and painless trash removal with professional crews and quality service. If it's non-hazardous waste, debris, or trash on your land, leave it to us. At Jackson Compaction, we're dedicated to ensuring the conservation of our environment. You trash it, we smash it. Jackson Compaction, we've earned a reputation for great results.
Hi, I'm Joe with Everguard Roofing and Solar, and I'm proud to say I'm standing next to our University of New Mexico Lobo football quarterback, Terry Wilson. We at Everguard Roofing and Solar are active in our community, and we love the Lobos.
What I love about Everguard Roofing and Solar is their commitment to excellence, and that's what I'm all about. That's why I support this company, because they care about the people of New Mexico.
A hole in your roof or a whole new roof? Go Lobos!
Everguard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
You trusted your home or business security to a company with an armed response. They sold out to a national corporate giant, and you're stuck on the brink of less security. I'm Aaron Jones, owner of International Protective Service. IPS isn't for sale. I'm invested here, and I care about your home and business as if it's my own. Let the highly trained armed guards or 24-hour patrols of IPS protect what's yours. With faster response times to catch criminals and less associated costs. Call 897-2420 or go to ipsglobal.com.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
When looking for the best experience while buying an all-new Kia, Fiesta Kia offers some of the most knowledgeable and friendly Kia specialists in New Mexico. They'll help you find the Kia that will meet all your expectations. Kias have some of the most affordable vehicles for you to choose from, offering extensive options and style for the price. And with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, Kia won't be beat. Come be a part of the Fiesta family today, 7400 Lomas Boulevard Northeast, or start driving now at fiestakia.com.
Dreaming about that brand new Subaru? You know which one you want, but have you been able to really drive?
We've made progress and just got to keep the faith.
Danny Gonzalez joining us on the opening drive. And Danny, how different is recruiting, not just from last year, this year, but going back to when you were a kid on campus playing football? How much has changed in that time from a player to coach to what you're dealing with now?
Well, there's a couple of significant changes. One is social media. When I was 20 years ago, 15 years ago, it wasn't a big deal at all. It wasn't even existent. It started about 10 years ago. It started at the end of when I was getting out of college and growing up. So a lot of the parents that are my age got a very small taste of social media. So a lot of them are living through their kids enjoying it. And then now that we can pay for the parents to come on visits and pay for families, there's a lot more family involvement, whether it be for a free trip or they actually want to see what their son both. But the visits have changed because it's really showing them the culture and showing them what their son's going to be around. And I think we have a great advantage in doing that because I think we have a really good coaching staff that really cares for the players, and I think the parents can see there's genuineness behind it. And I think that's why we were able to beat Boise State on an offensive lineman and some of those things that we did over the signing day.
Hey, Coach, this is Ned. Were there any surprise signings, and were there any position emphasis paid to this go-around in the signing? Because I know there's going to be another signing, and I know you signed a lot in this first one, but is there any surprises that you thought that, hey, we got this guy that we thought, man, it's going to be touch and go?
There was a couple of them. One, like I said, J.C. Davis was a offensive lineman out of Contra Costa that we were really high on, brought him in on a visit. Boise State had offered him early, and then they tried to come in on him late to get him to flip, and he stayed strong and believed in what we're doing here. And I think that was a big part of his parents being on the visit. And then we got two kids, an offensive lineman named Donald Dixon from Pacifica High School in Oxnard, California, that if it wasn't for the transfer portal, I don't think he would be at the University of New Mexico. He's probably the most athletic kid in our entire signing class, and that includes our skill guys. I mean, when you see him move around, it is very impressive. And then Christian Washington, the running back out of Helix High School, same high school Reggie Bush went to, same high school that Marcus Smith, who used to play wide receiver, went to. He's a very dynamic young man. He's about 5'11", 190 pounds. He's a 10, 500-meter guy. So we've got a couple guys that when we put the ball in their hands now, every time they touch it, there's a chance it's going to go 80, 70 yards for a touchdown wherever we're at. And those two guys, Christian and Donald Dixon, if the transfer portal wasn't a thing, those two young men are probably sitting at Power 5 schools right now. So that benefits us. And then if we do a good job, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to keep people from recruiting them off our campus.
UNM head football coach Danny Gonzalez joining us on the opening drive. And, Danny, you've been vocal about what you want this roster to look like, but things are changing, as you mentioned, the transfer portal, but especially JC guys. And you bring in a JC offensive lineman, but you also get another offensive lineman from Abilene Christian. Just a balance of knowing, hey, we have to have some guys, especially on offensive line, that can be available to play right away versus development.
That is significant for this class. Here's the advantage we have. I really hate taking two-year junior college kids because you really, one, we're not going to get the best of the best here on a normal year. And two, to develop them is almost non-existent because by the time they get here, especially if they don't get here until the summer, you get them for a season, one off season, and then a season and they're gone. Well, the kids that we've identified that can help our program right now, 8 of them will be here in January to start practicing with us. All 3 offensive linemen will have 3 years to develop them. So it's almost like bringing a redshirt freshman in here, which we've done that with a couple kids already. Jake Saltonstall, one of our D linemen, was a 3-for-4 kid. So if we can continue to do that, we can develop them. They'll be here in January. And once again, because of the transfer portal, the junior colleges aren't being recruited like they normally are. The 3 offensive linemen that we have coming in a semester would be at Oklahoma State, would be at Mississippi State, would be at those places, but they just weren't getting recruited. And so it's a benefit to us. We're not going to spend our time in the portal hitting the refresh button to see who's jumping in. We're going to continue to recruit high school kids. And then if we've got qualifiers at junior colleges, and junior college football is about to get a whole lot better. They almost killed it with some of the NCAA rules, but it's about to get really good because nobody's recruiting high schools anymore, not nearly at the rate that they were. And so all those kids that normally would go to Division I schools are going to have nowhere to go. So the junior college football is going to get significantly better with a bunch of qualifiers. We're going to continue to build our classes through high school kids and qualifiers if we can get them for 3-for-4, and we're going to continue down that path.
Is there a position with this team? I know you're building for a good team here in the future. Is there a specific position that you see that there was a need for that you're really keeping your eye on, and that you kept your eye on in recruiting to make sure that particular position is stocked and well placed?
Well, definitely up front, we helped ourselves. We signed 6 offensive linemen yesterday, and then we signed a couple of D linemen, including Tyler Keeney, who's from Los Lunas, who's a big local star who went to UCLA and decided to come home. And then we will also find a grad transfer quarterback that will be here in January. Now we have one. 4-to-4 transfers, guys that's transferring from a 4-year school to a 4-year school, they don't have to sign. There's no signing period for them. They can just show up on campus as long as you put them on scholarships. So we'll have a quarterback here for spring ball. And then one of the things that we addressed in this class is speed. I don't think we're a really fast football team. We've got some guys that can run. We don't have enough. Well, I think yesterday we signed 6 kids that are sub 600 meters in track that are actually good football players. So I think we addressed that issue. We've stockpiled some athleticism, and then we've gotten bigger and longer, which is it's super important if you want to compete with the big boys.
Lobo head football coach Danny Gonzalez joining us on the opening drive. And Danny, with the signing of Zach Vigil, the running back from Rio Rancho, that means the last 3 New Mexico Gatorade Football Players of the Year are on your roster. How important is that to you?
I think it's really important. We signed 4 New Mexico kids yesterday. I said it from the very beginning. We're going to sign 4 to 5 every year. And then the ones that are borderline guys, if we don't have scholarships for, we're going to invite them to walk on, much like Isaiah Chavez and Cody Moon, who are already on scholarship after 1 year. They prove they can play and help us win football games. So we'll continue to honor that model because I think it works, and it worked in the past with gentlemen like Matthew Quillen, Clint McPeak, those guys that came in and became big-time players and earned scholarships. We'll continue down that path. And then I take a lot of pride in recruiting New Mexico kids. And the fact that we've got the last 3 Gatorade Players of the Year, I think it speaks volumes. We're getting the best player to stay home. Now, there's nobody's talking about a young man from Jal, Roger Correon, who we did recruit. We tried really hard to get him to stay home. He went to Boise State. So the great part is, congratulations to Roger. I mean, I like all New Mexico kids being successful, so I'll smack him on the butt, and I'll find him next time when we play Boise State next year here in our stadium. Hopefully he's on the travel team. We'll love him up and then compete against him, try and whoop his tail. Same thing we were planning on doing against Tyler and against UCLA in 2025. But now I can promise you this, Tyler will have a little bit of incentive to go against UCLA in 2025. So we're going to continue to recruit the New Mexico kids. If they don't burn bridges on their way out, we'll welcome them home if something doesn't work out. And I think it's going to help our program.
Well, Coach, I want you to take a look at one of our good friends' son who's playing in a national championship game this Friday. Christian Carruthers, the nose guard down at Nemi. Scott Carruthers' son, I know he doesn't really brag about his son very much, but I'll brag about him. He was probably the best defensive player here at Albuquerque High School when he was here, and he's gone down to Nemi in these last 2 years and has done a pretty good job. So we may get another New Mexico kid if we can coax him into coming to UNM.
You know, Nemi's done a great job this year. Diego Pavia from Volcano Vista. They've got a running back that Anthony Grant that ran for almost 400 yards, and then on the defensive side of the ball, like you said, Carruthers right there in the middle. They've got a great group and a great team. They've done a great job coaching, and they are playing for a national championship. So we're always watching those guys. I consider Nemi kids a part of New Mexico, even though some of them come from Georgia and South Carolina and all over the country.
Yeah.
But they've made themselves a place called home down in Roswell, so it'll be fun to watch them play this weekend.
You know, Danny, lastly, this is a relationship business. Whatever you do, building relationships with the kids, but then it's fostering those friendships over the course of time. And I know that is so important, especially in recruiting, and especially this class, some former Lobos helped kind of direct you in certain ways to find some players.
Oh, they did. I thought the Lobo legacy aspect of it was really big. Glover Quinn called me back in May and said, Coach, I've got a nephew that is a really good football player. When you're an all-state football player in the state of Mississippi, you've done something right because that per capita has the most NFL players out of that state. And then Hunter Haymaker, his dad was a teammate of mine here, David. So both those guys were very integral. And then we have a young man from Georgia, a DB, Bryson, that Terrence Mathis helped us out with. So the Lobo legacy is strong out there on the recruiting trail. And when we call up on those guys, they do everything they can to help those kids get here. And they've been a big part of our recruiting. I talk about it all the time, the past, the present, the future of Lobo football. Those guys in the past are doing an outstanding job to make the present better so that the future is better for all of us.
Well, Danny, you said it. Everyone's happy on signing day, but we'll find out 2 or 3 years from now, which one of these kids is going to be able to make that jump. But I always appreciate the time and definitely want to say happy holidays, Merry Christmas to you, the staff, and your family. And we look forward to seeing what happens come spring ball.
Same to you, JJ. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you and the little one coming out last night. Glad you guys are feeling better. Happy holidays. Stay safe, and go Lobos.
That is head football coach Danny Gonzalez joining us on the opening drive. And still a lot of optimism, hope, passion for the future, and you see it. And it is a little bit different this year that you're able to recruit in person. You're seeing these guys. You had to take some chances last year across the board, every coach in the country, because you couldn't recruit. You couldn't travel anywhere. You couldn't travel people in. So I think you see a little difference with this year's class and the players that they were able to see and kind of build those personal relationships before they get to campus. It is Opening Drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal.
Dreaming about that brand new Subaru? You know which one you want, but have you been able to really drive one yet? Whether you're online at FiestaSubaru.com or ready to get out and drive the real thing, our Subarus are sanitized and ready to drive. There's never been a better time to fall in love with your new Subaru. So get driving now at Fiesta Subaru on Lomas or online at FiestaSubaru.com to schedule your real test drive.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop. Santa Paws has left thousands of holiday gifts for your furry, scaly, and winged family members. Pick up a gift for a pet lover or even a new pet. Clark's has shelves full of pet beds, sweaters, toys and treats, habitats and tanks galore. Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations for all your pet needs. 11200 Manal Northeast or 4914 Lomas Northeast. Clark's is celebrating 50 years. Thanks to you, the Christmas Superstore. ClarksPets.com.
A burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds. International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today.
The energy landscape is limitless and ever-changing. Cleaner energy resources are crucial to New Mexico's environment. For 100 years, PNM has utilized cutting-edge technology and employed hard-working New Mexicans to ensure that we have consistent, reliable energy when we need it. For life's loudest moments, quietest moments, and
You want to get people to a football game this weekend? Let's give away some tickets into this segment. PUBG Mobile New Mexico Bowl.
Let's
Fresno
do
State,
it.
UTEP. Fresno State, top secret. Not telling you who their quarterback is going to be on Saturday. Is it going to be Jake Hainer? Is it going to be a player making his first career collegiate start in a bowl game against UTEP? If you haven't got your tickets, get them now. Mobile ticketing, it's a thing. Buy your tickets.
It is a thing.
Download them, put them in your Apple, Android, whatever mobile wallet it is. Or you can print them out. It does take a few clicks. But we got 2 chances, today and tomorrow, to win tickets. Other than that, if you want to go to the bowl game, please get your tickets, support the event, 16th Annual New Mexico Bowl. And we just talked with head football coach Danny Gonzalez. That's the next step, bowl eligibility. Got to get to a bowl game.
Yep.
And then you can really think about that Win 5 mantra, trying to get that 5th conference championship. It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. J.J. Buck, our quarterback, Ned James, Amory with you this morning. We got Jerry Palm coming up next, talking more college sports. Having get his thoughts of Purdue alum on being number 1 for a week and then seeing Purdue get beat by Rutgers at the buzzer a couple of Fridays ago, but then also some of the recent coaching hires, including Oregon hiring the defensive coordinator from Georgia on the same day that former players write a letter saying, Oregon might be losing our identity. You're fine. You're fine, Oregon. You're still winning a ton of games. It's Pac-12.
Yeah. Beat Utah,
on the
will
outside
you?
looking in. Yeah, maybe find a way to beat Utah.
Can you beat a whack
It's not the coaching. It's the identity of the fact that Utah, in a span of 3 weeks, destroyed you twice.
Yes.
That's what you need to focus on. But, Danny Gonzalez, talking about this year's recruiting class, he's right. Everyone says this is fantastic, unless you're Troy Calhoun. He's the only coach before the season at Mountain West Media Days that Jeff talked to and was like, I don't know about this squad. And they just go out there and win 8 games because, of course. But you do see a difference in being able to recruit. Ned, you know that. You've done it before in the college ranks, building those relationships, relying on people to help you out, saying, hey, I got a kid over here, take a look at him. Because everyone's going to try to do that, but there's probably only a few people that you trust when you answer that phone. Go, oh, I know he's telling me the truth, and I should take a look at this guy.
Yeah, I mean, when he mentioned All State and Mississippi, now Mississippi's got, good football players, and he's right about that. They per capita, they have the most NFL players, and I mean, you go down in that Delta, boy, and you think, man, God, you think people are poor here. It's
should we watch out for Lane Kiffin?
Yeah, Lane Kiffin, he's got a bankroll there in Mississippi. You could say what you want. The money at the top in Mississippi is ridiculous, and so there's some people there that and football means something in the South, and so it's those kids play, like their lives dependent on it when it comes to football. So it's really you get those kind of football players, and we've had good success with Mississippi guys here. Jarek Reed's a Mississippi guy, and so I think that's what it's exciting Danny a little bit. And we have a former Lobo who's down there and he's coaching, and he's familiar with that area. So we beat out Jackson State, we beat out Deion Sanders.
Deion Sanders didn't get this one.
Player in Mississippi. And so it'll be interesting to see. I love I get a chance to meet a lot of these kids on campus and get to talk to them and just kind of learn their personalities. Got to get familiar with after the pandemic. It was just tough because you don't see the kids that much. But now I see them a little bit on campus and over at athletics. And so it'll be exciting to get to know this new group of guys. And it's going to be sad to see some of these guys leave. But hey, let's get them. Get them in here, get them signed up, get them going.
And to have 8 of them in spring football is always big.
Yeah.
You get in the program, start getting stronger, practicing, implementing the schemes. And as of now, the coaching staff is back. There's been no major changes to the coaching staff. Of course, Rocky Long's not going in there with that defense. We saw it be productive last year. The one thing you knew is at least the Lobos are going to be competitive defensively. If you watch them, they can get a competent offense. They can actually take steps forward next year in the team that people thought they were going to be this year. Yeah. And it does sound like it's going to be a Terry Wilson 2.0. Danny Gonzalez talking about a graduate transfer quarterback coming in. It makes sense. You want to add a veteran to this mix because it's still such a young room. But C.J. Montez, Isaiah Chavez, played a lot, but you need another one of those guys. And it's a part of college football. It's the balance of it. You heard Danny still going to go heavy high school to recruit and build. But then figuring out, all right, what are the positions that we need right now? Offensive line was a need. You got a transfer from Abilene Christian that, at least on paper, is going to be a starting lineman. You got a JC transfer, at least on paper, is going to be a starting lineman. So there's always, and you asked him that, Ned, there's always a couple positions that like, hey, we got to get guys that can hopefully contribute right away to kind of help steady the ship.
Yeah, and the other thing you mentioned, too, that's interesting to me, because it's not free agency, and so – is guys, cherry picking guys off your roster, and so we'll see if there's going to be any cherry picking. I mean, we're cherry picking off of other people's rosters. People are going to come in and pick off some of our guys. And I told you the story yesterday about recruiting, and one of my first recruiting experiences, being 100 years ago, I was at Arizona State, And I just remember the head coach at the time was Larry Marmee, and he says, Ned, you're from New Mexico. And I was like, yeah. He said, that's where I played. He says, the week before signing date, I want to know who the best player in that state is, because I don't care if he's committed to New Mexico. And they had just come off a Rose Bowl victory that year, and they were 10-1 or whatever, and they were really good. Arizona State. And so they said the best player in the state of New Mexico we can pick off from the University of New Mexico the day before signing, even if he's committed. He says, if I think he's good enough, we're going to sign. At the time, there was a kid down in Roswell named Mickey Reeves. Him and his brother, I guess they coached down at Roswell High School. And I had talked to Mickey, and to this day, I talk to him still because he was a New Mexico guy. And
was he going to New Mexico?
He was going to New Mexico, but he really wanted to go to Arizona State. And so I had talked to him, but he was a skilled guy, and we had a ton of guys like him. And even though the coach said, I think we brought him in for a visit, and then they just said, we'll pass this year on a New Mexico guy. But there's times when there's guys, like a Dontrell Moore or what's the Newsome, Newcomb,
Bobby Newcomb.
Bobby Newcomb, yeah. That those kind of kids show up, and then they're going to say, hey, we'll take that kid, and so it's really recruiting, the business of recruiting. They talk a lot about the NIL, but aside from that, it's still just the hard work and just the relationships and the understanding of the kids want to play big time football, and so they're going to go where they feel like they can get the most exposure.
Mm-hmm. As of last I looked, New Mexico State added 14 to their class yesterday, so they still have plenty of open spots, and it's never ending in recruiting. You have signing day, but it doesn't stop. You just heard Danny Gonzalez say that they're going to get a graduate transfer quarterback in here in January to join the program. Players are always hitting the transfer portal. Pick up, find the holes then. If things are changing, if you feel that coaches are missing on high school players, then you got to be that team. You got to be that coach that gets in there, maybe grabs a couple of those guys if someone's getting overlooked.
Yeah, and you rely on your staff because these are the guys that are going to be working with them. Those are the guys that have taught that position. They see, the deficiencies, and especially if you're grading out and the head coach is grading out your position, and he's saying, hey, what do we need to do to get you the best possible player here so we can affect the game and affect our chances of winning those games by, the personnel that you're bringing in here or the personnel that you're teaching and coaching. And so we'll see if we have the personnel, to match up to these conference opponents that we're going up against. And, we need to find a way to match the Boise States and the Nevadas and the Colorado States and be able to, when the game starts or when we are predicting who's going to be successful that week, we'll have a chance and not have this, if we can complete some passes or we can get the running game going, we know ahead of time that, hey, this is going to be one we can win.
Football is football. Talking some college football in basketball season, yes, it's still possible to do. And you know what? There's one more game to enjoy in the state of New Mexico. That is the PUBG Mobile New Mexico Bowl. Let's go caller number 6, 246-0610, Quan's Auto Care Hotline. You'll get yourself a pair of tickets to this Saturday's bowl game, Fresno State and UTEP. 246-0610, caller number 6, pair of tickets to the PUBG Mobile New Mexico Bowl. We come back on the other side. We'll dive into more collegiate athletics with Jerry Palm from CBSSports.com. This is the opening drive on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Every moment in between. We're dedicated to providing you with energy now and into the future. All you have to do is dream of what to do with it next.
I'm attorney Mo Maestas. I just want to wish all the athletes, coaches, and families a very Merry Christmas this holiday season. Be sure to play hard, play through the clock, and have a great time with your teammates. I've been a trial lawyer in this town for 23 years, so you can get a hold of me at 505-304-7497. But have a very Merry Christmas. God bless. We'll see you in the new year.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot It's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Dreaming about that brand new Subaru? You know which one you want, but have you been able to really drive one yet? Whether you're online at fiestasubaru.com or ready to get out and drive the real thing, our Subarus are sanitized and ready to drive. There's never been a better time to fall in love with your new Subaru. So get driving now at Fiesta Subaru on Lomas or online at fiestasubaru.com to schedule your real test drive.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop. Santa Paws has left thousands of holiday gifts for your furry, scaly, and winged family members. Pick up a gift for a pet lover or even a new pet. Clark's has shelves full of pet beds, sweaters, toys and treats, habitats and tanks galore. Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations for all your pet needs. 11200 Manal Northeast or 4914 Lomas Northeast. Clark's is celebrating 50 years. Thanks to you, the Christmas Superstore. ClarksPets.com.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best. TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
The energy landscape is limitless and ever-changing. Cleaner energy resources are crucial to New Mexico's environment. For 100 years, PNM has utilized cutting-edge technology and employed hard-working New Mexicans to ensure that we have consistent, reliable energy when we need it. For life's loudest moments, quietest moments, and every moment in between. We're dedicated to providing you with energy now and into the future. All you have to do is dream of what to do with it next.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Dreaming about that brand new Subaru? You know which one you want, but have you been able to really drive one yet? Whether you're online at FiestaSubaru.com or ready to get out and drive the real thing, our Subarus are sanitized and ready to drive. There's never been a better time to fall in love with your new Subaru. So get driving now at Fiesta Subaru on Lomas or online at FiestaSubaru.com to schedule your real test drive.
I'm Ben Lucero, president and owner of Indigo Mortgage. We are a locally owned and operated mortgage company right here in New Mexico. This means your loan officers and processors are right here to serve you. Our mortgage divisions include residential, commercial, construction, reverse mortgages, and VA mortgage loan. Indigo Mortgage, because nobody cares more about your mortgage loan.
Bowl season is upon us. PUBG Mobile New Mexico Saturday, Fresno State and UTEP out there at University Stadium. Noon kickoff. Games get going on Friday. We got college basketball, so much going on. It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. JJ Buck, joined by our quarterback, Ned James, and our guest, Jerry Palm, CBS Sports. Jerry, what's it like being a Purdue fan this year?
Well, better than some. Basketball team is doing great despite their brief period at number one. But you know, Purdue plays like crap against Rutgers and especially at Rutgers, so that game's pretty much a loss every year. But they came back and pretty remarkable comeback against NC State to get back on track. So this has a chance to be a pretty special basketball team. The football team went 8-4, which is kind of surprising. Probably 3 games better than most people expected. So a pretty good year to be a Purdue fan.
As of now, every FBS head coaching position is filled, but who's hiring Urban Meyer?
Nobody. Not this year. In fact, he's never gone from one job directly to another. You know, he went from Florida to retirement to TV. A couple of years later, Ohio State to retirement, and then Jacksonville, and this might permanently retire him because that was so bad. That one of the worst tenures any NFL coach has had in certainly my memory. It's not very often that you don't even last a year, although it's surprisingly often that you only last 1 year. But he didn't even get that far. It's just one disaster after another. And you could kind of see it coming when they hired him. Doesn't really seem to have an NFL personality, and it just takes a different personality to be an NFL coach than a college coach. Although you can coach in college with the personality that is required to coach in the NFL, but sometimes the other way around doesn't work. In fact, we've seen that a lot. But Urban Meyer will not go directly to another coaching job. It'll take at least 1 year off, maybe 2, but I don't think he's going to get hired really anytime soon. some college will probably give it a shot.
Jerry, as we wrap up this coaching cycle, the last big hire, Dan Lanning at Oregon. He was the defensive coordinator at Georgia, and at the same time, you had former Oregon players going, "Oh, we're losing our way." No, you're just losing to Utah. That's your only problem recently. But as we wrap up the coaching cycle, and just your thoughts on what we've seen this season.
Yeah, I don't know why they think they're losing their way by hiring Dan Lanning. He's obviously going to have to hire a good offensive coordinator, but I don't see any reason why Oregon can't be good with Dan Lanning as their coach. There's certainly no reason for pessimism, but it's obviously you lose Cristobal. You kind of knew the Miami job would always be a lure for him, so it's no surprise he ended up there. It's been a remarkable coaching cycle, and not so much because of the number of jobs that opened, but the number of big-time programs that hired new coaches, and especially from each other. USC hiring the coach away from Oklahoma. Notre Dame's coach leaving willingly for the first time since 1905 for LSU. It's really just, all of the big names that were hiring coaches, Oregon on that list as well, is what's surprising about this particular coaching carousel, and maybe that's something that'll be a trend in the future. I don't know, but that kind of thing hasn't happened very often before, hiring a coach from one big-name school to another.
Hey, Jerry, Ned James here. $100 million is nothing to sneeze at, so I'm sure there are some things to lure these guys away from these big schools. It's called cash.
Oh, yeah. It's always that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's always the cash, yes. One of the things I wanted to ask about was the players that are opting not to play in these bowl games, but particularly the college football playoff. Do you see any players sitting out from Georgia, Michigan, Alabama, or Cincinnati? I don't think there's anybody at Cincinnati really, but that'll sit out these college football playoffs in response to trying to make an NFL draft board and be seen as someone who can move up just on their numbers based on what they did this college football season and in the combine.
Well, usually when people sit out, it's to protect themselves from injury. I can't remember a case of somebody opting out of a playoff. Other bowl games, yeah. I mean, as much as I like other bowl games, and I really do enjoy the bowls, and I'll watch a lot of them. They're glorified exhibitions, right? So the opting out of a bowl game, we're starting to see more and more players do that, and I don't begrudge those guys from doing that. Opting out of a playoff would be pretty unusual because of what's at stake, and a chance to prove yourself in high-leverage environments, which other bowl games don't provide. And then Cincinnati, by the way, has at least one first-round guy in Ahmad Gardner out of their defensive backfield, and maybe two of those guys. Anyways, I don't think we'll see anybody opt out of the college football playoff.
All right, Jerry, we know you have a soft spot for the PUBG Mobile New Mexico Bowl, but other than that, what is your favorite game this week, and what interests you as bowl season starts?
This week, I like the game with Louisiana in it. I think the New Mexico Bowl could be a fun game as well.
Louisiana versus Marshall?
You never know what you're going to get with teams changing coaches, but Fresno and UTEP both had really good years. I'm looking forward to the game that Northern Illinois is playing. I'm drawing a complete blank on their opponent, which is stupid because I know it's another team. Oh, Coastal. Are they playing Coastal? Northern Illinois and Coastal?
Yep, that is Friday night.
Yeah, that game should be fun because they're both, really good offensive teams that run the ball. So it might end up being a short game, but those are primarily running teams, but still find a way to score a lot of points. So I think that could be a particularly fun game.
Well, Jerry, as always, we appreciate the time. We'll continue to talk college football, sprinkling that college basketball as we move along. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll talk next Thursday.
All right, thanks.
Jerry Palm, CBS Sports, joining us here on the opening drive on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Dream Style Roofing tops them all. When your roof's worn out and needs to be replaced, we're gonna do it right, put a smile on your face. There at home, things are looking up when you get your roof done by someone you can trust. Dream Style, a company name that's been around forever. No one does it better. You need a new roof, you know who to call. Dream Style Roofing tops them all.
Hi, I'm Joe with Everguard Roofing and Solar, and I'm proud to say I'm standing next to our University of New Mexico Lobo football quarterback, Terry Wilson. We at Everguard Roofing and Solar are active in our community, and we love the Lobos.
What I love about Everguard Roofing and Solar is their commitment to excellence, and that's what I'm all about. That's why I support this company, because they care about the people of New Mexico.
A hole in your roof or a whole new roof?
Go Lobos!
Everguard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
The energy landscape is limitless and ever-changing. Cleaner energy resources are crucial to New Mexico's environment. For 100 years, PNM has utilized cutting-edge technology and employed hard-working New Mexicans to ensure that we have consistent, reliable energy when we need it. For life's loudest moments, quietest moments, and every moment in between. We're dedicated to providing you with energy now and into the future. All you have to do is dream of what to do with it next.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number 1 in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
Dreaming about that brand new Subaru? You know which one you want, but have you been able to really drive one yet? Whether you're online at fiestasubaru.com or ready to get out and drive the real thing, our Subarus are sanitized and ready to drive. There's never been a better time to fall in love with your new Subaru. So get driving now at Fiesta Subaru on Lomas or online at fiestasubaru.com to schedule your real test drive.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
I prefer to do stuff online. I can find things much quicker, do the research I need, and have it shipped or waiting for me to pick up. The Shop by Payments option was perfect for me. I got online, clicked on Shop by Payments, put in my down payment and monthly budget, and the guessing was done. From laptop, I was able to nail down the bike I wanted, add a few customizations, and get an estimate on my trade-in.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop. Santa Paws has left thousands of holiday gifts for your furry, scaly, and winged family members. Pick up a gift for a pet lover or even a new pet. Clark's has shelves full of pet beds, sweaters, toys and treats, habitats and tanks galore. Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations for all your pet needs. 11200 Manal Northeast or 4914 Lomas Northeast. Clark's is celebrating 50 years. Thanks to you, the Christmas Superstore. ClarksPets.com.
I'm attorney Mo Maestas. I just want to wish all the athletes, coaches, and families a very Merry Christmas this holiday season. Be sure to play hard, play through the clock, and have a great time with your teammates. I've been a trial lawyer in this town for 23 years, so you can get a hold of me at 505-304-7497. But have a very Merry Christmas. God bless. We'll see you in the new year.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter.
Sports Animal.
Josh Lambo did not miss the mark this time. I wonder what got Josh Lambo to tell that story now. The Urban Meyer kicking him in preseason camp comes out now. Did someone get word of it? Did someone finally tell someone, hey, go ask Josh about this story? Just because is the avalanche of everything that we've seen from Urban Meyer. But he gone after 13 games.
First year.
Doesn't even make it 1 year in his contract.
Yeah, the PR nightmare. I'm sure Shad Khan consulted with several people, attorneys, his business people, just to, see how this would look more than anything. But it's unfortunate, that incident came up. Lambo, I know a lot of people are going to pile on Urban Meyer, but Urban Meyer's going to be fine. He's going to have a large
as you should.
check.
And yeah, you are going to be fine, Urban, and we are absolutely going to pile on you for the disaster that you are. Someone that's supposed to be such a good head coach, just a mess everywhere he is at. But now, bright future, a new day for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence can breathe again. And what do they do next? And I know, Ned, you've been saying, what about Deion Sanders?
How about
Jacksonville?
He's an NFL former player, Hall of Fame player. And I know people, they look at the personality and can he handle NFL guys? He's one of them.
I think he can, but can Deion Sanders, can Coach Prime be Coach Prime in the NFL? Is he going to go around telling people in the NFL, you best address me as Coach Prime?
Probably.
He will.
And so, is that a disqualifier? I don't know.
It doesn't feel like Deion Sanders could be himself in the NFL.
Sure he can. That's how he became himself, was in the NFL.
That's the coach.
Well, I mean, the coach,
It's one thing to flip the number 1 cornerback from Florida State to Jackson State.
And that's huge. I mean, Urban Meyer wasn't flipping guys. I mean, Urban Meyer was just paying guys under the table, which is a little different. Deion's getting guys.
He's probably
with
passing on
NIL
some of
deal.
that Aflac money.
Yeah,
to that
he's
the
got
cornerback.
He's got the Jackson State band, and we were talking off air, about just the HBCU experience for young black men in America going down deep south, playing at these historically black colleges and universities. I happen to coach at one.
You've
for
coached
a year.
everywhere.
Yeah, I know. The Forrest Gump. Dennis Erickson called me the Forrest Gump of coaching because in the World Football League,
you need to get Ned to Canada for like a game and then cross it off the list. Have you done arena football?
Arena football, all of that. Done it all. But, the HBCU experience, we were talking about it off air, I thought, man, this is just terrible. Man, the facilities are bad. Even Jackson State. I've been to Jackson State. They don't have great facilities. They don't have much money. It's poor. But one thing that the HBCUs have and you said you saw it when an HBCU came and played the University of New Mexico, is the bands.
It's the bands.
It's about the bands. And the homecoming games and the halftime show, they throw penalty flags. So each team agrees to a 15-yard penalty, both teams, before the game even starts. And I thought it was the craziest thing I'd ever seen.
Because of the bands?
Because the bands stay on the field. You're like in the locker room at halftime for an hour because the bands go for so long at halftime. You take a sportsmanlike penalty before the game starts.
The band is on the field. That is our quarterback, Ned James. A-Marie, JJ Buck with you. We might have a special guest dropping in studio.
Uh-oh.
You might know him. Coming up next, it is Opening Drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
A burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds. International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today.
The energy landscape is limitless and ever-changing. Cleaner energy resources are crucial to New Mexico's environment. For 100 years, PNM has utilized cutting-edge technology and employed hard-working New Mexicans to ensure that we have consistent, reliable energy when we need it. For life's loudest moments, quietest moments, and every moment in between. We're dedicated to providing you with energy now and into the future. All you have to do is dream of what to do with it next.
Dream Style Roofing tops them all. When your roof's worn out and needs to be replaced, we're gonna do it right, put a smile on your face. There at home, things are looking up when you get your roof done by someone you can trust. Dream Style, a company name that's been around forever. No one does it better. You need a new roof, you know who to call. Dream Style Roofing tops them all.
Jackson Compaction wants to help you keep your green and keep the community green as well. Jackson Compaction has worked hard to maintain the same prices since day one. Always easy and painless trash removal with professional crews and quality service. If it's non-hazardous waste, debris, or trash on your land, leave it to us. At Jackson Compaction, we're dedicated to ensuring the conservation of our environment. You trash it, we smash it. Jackson Compaction, we've earned a reputation for great results.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hi, I'm Joe with Everguard Roofing and Solar, and I'm proud to say I'm standing next to our University of New Mexico Lobo football quarterback, Terry Wilson. We at Everguard Roofing and Solar are active in our community, and we love the Lobos.
What I love about Everguard Roofing and Solar is their commitment to excellence, and that's what I'm all about. That's why I support this company, because they care about the people of New Mexico.
A hole in your roof or a whole new roof?
Go Lobos.
Everguard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Properties is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number one in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
They're not that proud of us.
7 o'clock in the morning. 7 a.m. where have you been? 7 a.m. where is your brother?
Now, voted the best sports show in New Mexico for 5 years running. This is the opening drive with two-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Symbieta, and J.J. Buck.
He gone, Urban Meyer done in Jacksonville. No surprise, but it is a bit surprising when it's a midnight Eastern news dump on a Wednesday. But the owner was at a wrestling event, so it was after the wrestling event. He drops the hammer on Urban Meyer. It's another one of those things, like, we all saw it coming. It's no surprise, but how could there be that big of a swing and a miss? Sometimes these owners are successful business people. You own an NFL team because you made a lot of money. I get it. But still, sometimes, like, what are you doing? What are we doing, Ned?
Well, they hire they pay millions of dollars to these search firms, and sometimes the search firms get it wrong. And so that's because the owners don't really know. They don't know. They may have an attorney buddy that they really trust, and that attorney buddy likes ESPN, and he likes a particular media guy on ESPN, and he hears them say, hey, the Jacksonville Jaguars need to hire Urban Meyer. So he goes back and he tells Shad Khan, hey, they say that you need to hire this guy, and that's how guys get hired. It's amazing. You may think I'm kidding, but that's how it works sometimes. I mean, it's just –
I've seen the stuff that's going on with the Washington football team investigation, the things that just happen to come out. You know, why was John Gruden the one thrown under the bus? Why was it now that the Josh Lambo story comes out as opposed to not during training camp? Because Josh Lambo had all this time from when he was cut to now with everything that was going on to tell the story, but now.
Well, sometimes stories, take a while to get out there because, there's guys like you that are investigative journalists.
I don't investigate anything.
So, but journalists,
we do extensive research here.
They have to do their due diligence,
Like,
on the OD.
They're like, hey, Marie, can you Google this real quick?
Yeah, or they have to Google, somebody or look at someone's Facebook post or something. I don't know, but eventually, those things kind of get out, and it piles on. People, it's not like it used to be when you're down.
Pile on Urban Meyer this
You would
morning.
think that people would give you a hand up instead. When you're down,
we
they
should
kick
absolutely continue piling over. I'm sure you've seen this, Anne-Marie, but the snapshot that's going around social media from when Urban Meyer was doing the Fox Sports commentating.
Oh, boy, I haven't seen that one.
So there was a segment that they did on Fox Sports when Urban Meyer was there. And it was Urban Meyer discussing the problems with the football team. He's like, your football team is not doing good when there's trust issues, there's selfishness, and there's one other thing. And so it's a photo of Urban Meyer that's going around with those, like, 3 things listed.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, he checked all those boxes in Jacksonville. Winner, chicken
Louise.
dinner. Oh, yeah.
There's just too many memes. I woke up
Hard
to
to
a
keep up.
flood of Urban Meyer memes and videos and TikToks and whatnot.
It's a beautiful day if you're a Jacksonville Jaguars
Man,
fan.
who are
'cause
they
there's
playing
hope
this week?
For the future. They're playing the Houston Texans. Are you ready for this?
That
Jacksonville,
is...
Houston.
Shootout.
Davis Mills.
Basic better. I'm going to get on that spread.
Trevor
Hold on.
Lawrence.
I'll let you know.
Who you taking? It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal. Amory, J.J. Buckle, quarterback Ned James, and the legend himself.
Yes.
It is Scott Stigler. Stigatron.
You're hard pressed. You're hard pressed for a legend. I'm just telling you right now.
My first person to interview me when I came back was Stig.
There you go.
Oh, that's awesome.
Stig knows more than you realize when you start going down the rabbit hole. And why is Scott Stigler here? Why the heck not? The dude is fantastic at what he does.
Beyond the commercial breaks, right? He's always like on commercial break segment. I'm like, come on the show.
Yeah.
And he's very good at talking to the microphone, and everyone loves Scott Stigler. Because when Scott Stigler left the post-game show, they're like, who's this idiot that's now taking calls at the night?
Wait a minute. Let's get Grady's opinion on me.
Okay. Let's get Grady.
I like Grady. I like Grady. Grady's a great caller, by the way.
Shout out to Pecos, northern New Mexico. So what is Scott Stigler here to talk? Of course. But he is also a fan of a team that is in the playoffs, and that is one James Madison University.
Oh, there's other playoffs.
It's
not Michigan. It's not Georgia.
It is JMU. It is the FCS playoffs. And it's a fascinating conversation with Scott Stigler, who is down there. We'll change the camera here in a second. Because we're seeing so many changes in college athletics. And people are like, oh, we have a 14 playoff. Oh, I don't know if we can have an 18 playoff. What about the kids? You know what they do in FCS football? They got a 2014 playoff, and no one's complaining about the kids.
No one complains.
But this is the last hurrah for one Scott Stigler to enjoy his alma mater because they're transitioning to FBS football, and he's not too happy about it.
Well, I'm not, and the reason I'm not is because I kind of believe they're at the level where they belong. I mean, they would argue that they're now competitive with FBS teams. They're moving to the Sun Belt. I'm not suggesting that James Madison can't be competitive with Troy and can't be competitive with Louisiana Monroe and Marshall and Appalachian State and all the rest. I mean, Appalachian State and Coastal Carolina are pretty good now, but my issue with it is they're never going to play for a championship again. They're going to play for the Sun Belt Conference Championship and maybe a chance to get into some nondescript bowl game. And JJ, you know that I brought this up. It was 2013 when the Lobos went to Pitt, and the Lobos played a Pitt team that was middle of the pack to bottom of the pack in the ACC, and Pitt beat the snot out of them. I mean, Pitt took the second half off and still beat them by 20-something points. And I went on the air right after that on our call-in show, and I said, why do the Lobo fans have these delusions of grandeur that someday they're going to play for something significant? Coalesce with all of your like programs, all of the Mountain West teams, all the North Texases, the Bowling Greens, the Florida Atlantics. Create your own division and play a 16-team playoff. You have, for instance, James Madison's going to North Dakota State this week because they were the 3 seed. North Dakota State was the 2 seed, but they played 2 home playoff games. You can't tell me that the University of New Mexico fans wouldn't warm up to 2 home playoff games, even if it meant that they're not going to be able to compete for the, and I'm not picking on the New Mexico Bowl, the New Mexico Bowl. At the beginning of a year, there should be a prize at the end of the year. That in baseball, it's the World Series. In the NFL, it's the Super Bowl. In college football and in college sports, not so much basketball, but in football, the prize is bowl eligibility and some nondescript game, other than if you're Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan. I mean, you can throw 10 teams into that mix, and that's it. So why doesn't New Mexico? What does New Mexico have to play for?
It's the money issue, right? They're still holding on to the money that you get from being an FBS team. But it's interesting because now we're finally seeing changes in FBS. You know, the expansion of the college football playoff. It's still not even get to the point where it is fair to everyone. But I love talking about the FCS playoffs because it absolutely just shreds the idea that you can't expand a college football season or a college football playoff.
Mm-hmm.
Because, well, what are you doing? Well, the kids are taking finals and they're out for a few weeks anyway. And you don't think FCS players get hurt or need the time off? So I do think it's a fascinating conversation. I don't know know if we're going to get to the point where we split, but there is a whole lot of turmoil, unlike ever before in college athletics, just trying to figure out where they're going from football free agency to playoffs across the board.
Well, and Bob Huggins, you talked about this on the air a couple of weeks ago. Bob Huggins made the point, I don't want Prairie View A&M in the NCAA tournament. I mean, he's a basketball coach at West Virginia. He wants to shrink who can make the NCAA tournament. I think it's inevitable. I thought it was going to happen 4 or 5 years ago. But when Oklahoma and Texas leave the Big 12 for the SEC, I mean, it sounds warning bells for me. And it can't happen fast enough for me because I just don't think it's healthy for the New Mexicos and the North Texases and the Bowling Greens of the world to play a season every year where your prize is whatever bowl you're talking about.
And you're right. I think it's I never really looked at. I've listened to you talk about it, JJ, quite a bit, expanding the playoff structure, and being from the NFL and seeing how that playoff structure works and all the teams that are involved in it. I never did understand. I never really thought about how teams like New Mexico could ever, really achieve anything other than, like you said, playing for bowl eligibility, because they have to play these money games and whatnot. But it's interesting. I just never thought of it the FCS way. And James Madison, I knew Everett Withers. He coached with me in Tennessee. He was the coach of James Madison, and the fact that they're now feeling the need to have that recognition that they don't feel they get by being an FCS school, by jumping into the FBS, because I think that's all it's about, because that's what the kids look at. Hey, am I going to be at that D1 school that's FBS, even though those schools aren't really what you consider participating in the overall big picture of competing with these Power 5 schools.
And the FCS, it doesn't happen a lot. I mean, it happens more often. I mean, everybody remembers the Appalachian State beating Michigan, right? James Madison has beaten Virginia Tech. This year, South Dakota State beat Colorado State. South Dakota State is in the Final Four as well in the FCS playoffs. So the gap is closing between the bottom of the FBS and the FCS, and I think that's why James Madison made the jump, because they feel like they can compete in the Sun Belt Conference. But what do you want to play for? I mean, when you start a season, do you want to play for bowl eligibility, or do you want to play for a trophy that indicates you're the national champion? Now, some people will kind of poo-poo the idea that, well, the FCS championship really isn't so what? I mean, it's irrelevant. No, people around the country couldn't tell you who the FCS champion was last year.
It's not irrelevant to that fan base.
But to the fan bases, I think it is. Now, the James Madison fan base is highly opposed to me. I'd rather stay in the FCS.
Yeah, they're pro move to FBS, which I do think is fascinating in this conversation, because to me, it's kind of like what you're talking about, like accepting. All right, everyone's playing FBS football, but they're not playing the same game.
That's right. I mean, do people who are fans of the New Mexico Lobos, New Mexico State, do they really believe they're at the same level as Alabama and Ohio State?
Yes, they do.
Who?
Well, right. But that's my problem with it, Holton. They're delusional.
They are delusional. And I'm one of those delusional people, because when you're a college athlete and you go to the University of New Mexico, you really do think you're on par, because your buddies are going to Alabama, your buddies are going to Texas, and you really believe that, hey, man, if the stars are aligned right, we can go there and we can win. And that's, like you said, it's delusional, but you have those dreams and you have those aspirations and that's what I think the fans, they see. It's just like, guys watching television and thinking they can play, I could play quarterback better than that guy in the NFL. Look, I could throw that pass. It's that delusion that, it kind of inspires people to want to move up in division, I think.
And that's okay. I mean, but eventually, when you're
realism.
Eventually you got to be realistic, and I don't. Again, for the life of me, I can't understand why people couldn't celebrate it's FBS. It used to be 1A and 1AA, right? Well, what if there was something in between 1A and 1AA?
Yeah.
Right. And
one asterisk or something.
Right. I mean, you brought in everybody who you have similar budgets with and how you can compete with. I mean, if the Lobos beat, Florida Atlantic in the semifinals and beat Bowling Green for a national championship, would there be something wrong with that?
No, it'd be nice, but
it's not Alabama and Ohio State.
Yeah, right. We can't say we played Alabama and Ohio State.
But you're never going to beat them. Ever.
Right.
It's interesting because that is a man that roots for a team that wins football national championships, but will no longer be playing for a national championship, but a bowl appearance. And it is, as a college football fan, you're all under one umbrella if you root for an FBS team, but you have different expectations. It is a fascinating conversation overall because I'm one that I kind of accept just the bowl system the way it is. I understand that covering UNM, New Mexico State, there's a certain level that they're playing for, and it is the bowl game. But is there a dramatic change coming? Who's pushing for that? Because changes are coming, but is it going to be big enough to satisfy everyone involved? That is Scott Sigler. You want to hang around a few more minutes?
Sure,
Scott Sigler hanging out in studio. Ned James, Amory, JJ Bug can catch us on ProView Networks and 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal.
Get the Sports Animal.
I prefer to do stuff online. I can find things much quicker, do the research I need, and have it shipped or waiting for me to pick up. The Shop by Payments option was perfect for me. I got online, clicked on Shop by Payments, put in my down payment and monthly budget, and the guessing was done. From laptop, I was able to nail down the bike I wanted, add a few customizations, and get an estimate on my trade-in.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop. Santa Paws has left thousands of holiday gifts for your furry, scaly, and winged family members. Pick up a gift for a pet lover or even a new pet. Clark's has shelves full of pet beds, sweaters, toys and treats, habitats and tanks galore. Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations for all your pet needs. 11200 Manal Northeast or 4914 Lomas Northeast. Clark's is celebrating 50 years. Thanks to you, the Christmas Superstore. ClarksPets.com.
Dreaming about that brand new Subaru? You know which one you want, but have you been able to really drive one yet? Whether you're online at FiestaSubaru.com or ready to get out and drive the real thing, our Subarus are sanitized and ready to drive. There's never been a better time to fall in love with your new Subaru. So get driving now at Fiesta Subaru on Lomas or online at FiestaSubaru.com to schedule your real test drive.
The energy landscape is limitless and ever-changing. Cleaner energy resources are crucial to New Mexico's environment. For 100 years, PNM has utilized cutting-edge technology and employed hard-working New Mexicans to ensure that we have consistent, reliable energy when we need it. For life's loudest moments, quietest moments, and every moment in between. We're dedicated to providing you with energy now and into the future. All you have to do is dream of what to do with it next.
I'm attorney Mo Maestas. I just want to wish all the athletes, coaches, and families a very Merry Christmas this holiday season. Be sure to play hard, play through the clock, and have a great time with your teammates. I've been a trial lawyer in this town for 23 years, so you can get a hold of me at 505-304-7497. But have a very Merry Christmas. God bless. We'll see you in the new year.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
I'm Ben Lucero, president and owner of Indigo Mortgage. We are a locally owned and operated mortgage company right here in New Mexico. This means your loan officers and processors are right here to serve you. Our mortgage divisions include residential, commercial, construction, reverse mortgages, and VA mortgage loan. Indigo Mortgage, because nobody cares more about your mortgage loan.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop. Santa Paws has left thousands of holiday gifts for your furry, scaly, and winged family members. Pick up a gift for a pet lover or even a new pet. Clark's has shelves full of pet beds, sweaters, toys and treats, habitats and tanks galore. Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations for all your pet needs. 11200 Manal Northeast or 4914 Lomas Northeast. Clark's is celebrating 50 years. Thanks to you, the Christmas Superstore. ClarksPets.com.
Uneasy. JJ Buck, Ned James, A. Murray with you here on the opening drive. But it's a fascinating conversation because it's bowl season. I love bowl season, and Stig does too. You will see Stig out to New Mexico. He supports it. But it is a question of kind of where does college athletics go, because things change so fast. It wasn't, okay, we're going to implement this. It was, well, we've done nothing for so long, calling them amateur athletes, and all of a sudden it's like, boom, NIL, transfer portal, immediate eligibility, and all that roster stuff will initially begin to affect kind of what we see with conference movement. And your point, like, we never thought we'd see Oklahoma and Texas go to the SEC. You see more and more coaches. Like, who's Bob Huggins to say he doesn't want a team in the NCAA tournament? But just things like that pick up momentum. Where does it get to? And just figuring out what's next.
Well, you can bet that Bob Huggins has not only talked to his athletic director about it, and is probably a school president, but you can bet he's talked to all the other coaches in the Big 12 and coaches around the country. You can bet that there's a bunch of guys sitting around going, "Yeah, we don't want that either." The Bob Huggins of the world, right? They're in the catbird seat. They don't get knocked out of the catbird seat. If Bob Huggins loses to Prairie View A&M, is the example I use, if he loses to them in the NCAA tournament, now he's got West Virginia boosters going, wait a minute, what's going on here? We need to get Bob Huggins out of there, and we need to get some, you know what I'm saying? Right. So it's guys' livelihoods, and I understand that. And once you're the king, or once you're on the throne, you don't want to get knocked off the throne. And who's this little guy coming in here to possibly knock me off the throne?
Yeah, and it's big money. You know, that's why these little guys are coming. Their little guys are saying, hey, look, I don't want Bob Huggins' money trumping my money. And that's why these little guys want to be a part of the party. The $100 million coaches. I never thought I'd ever say that. I mean, John Gruden, these guys should all be sending him thank you letters for having that $100 million contract with the Raiders. Because now college guys are getting $100 million. That's the most absurd thing. I had a friend of mine whose parents are academicians, and they just can't believe it. It's blowing their mind that people who are coaching and teaching a kid's sport, football, can make $100 million in an academic environment where we can't even get books for the middle schools in Albuquerque. You know, they're saying, you're kidding me, Ned,
money, baby.
That there's 4 Division I college football coaches with $100 million contracts, and that's where these schools see themselves. These boosters, and it doesn't matter whether they could be at Mankato State in Minnesota, a billionaire or a millionaire or however many millions you have, and you're at one of those places. You don't see yourself being any less than the guy that's at Oklahoma or Texas or USC or Penn State, and that's where the arms race is going. That's why these guys are chasing it.
Yeah, if you're going to send John Gruden a thank you note, send it, personally written instead of an email. He's not really good with email. He's got a problem with email.
He's the fraternity boy at Dayton University.
You put out the bat signal, Stig.
Is he there?
Here he is, the one, the only. I believe it's the one and only Slim Grady. What's up, man? How you doing?
Meaty range game fans of the OD and the AM. I had a little birdie tell me that Stegosaurus said something positive. I was like, great. Now I'm going to have to change my whole flipping call.
I love you, Grady. And by the way, I love your favorite sport too. I'm a big cross country guy. I love that sport.
Oh, thanks. It's a big deal up here, and
sure.
lots of folks, and it's really exciting. So I do appreciate that. You know, I don't necessarily disagree with you, Stig, 100% on the whole drop down to whichever division that you create, but I don't think the premise or the motivation is correct. Honestly, there are probably 90% of the Power 5 schools, Group of 5 schools, etc., basketball, football, you name it, that will never play for a national championship. I think you can seriously write down on a piece of paper probably 20 schools, and that's who will always compete for a national championship in the foreseeable future.
And I would limit that just to football, because I think basketball is a little bit different. You can get 5 guys together, a George Mason, a VCU, and get to the Final Four. That's worth it to me. But in football, I would completely agree with you. I think the list would probably be less than 20.
Right. So that doesn't deter, though, kids going to school at these Division I programs that will never play for a national championship. So I think that's not the motivation. I don't think that the motivation for kids to going to school is to play for a national championship. Now, maybe the fan bases, that maybe that might upset them, but honestly, I don't really think that's it either. You hear about all the grumblings of, we need more New Mexico kids. You hear that locally, and college football, again, whether we need to admit it or not, is still a very regionalized sport. So I would argue that if you can get your best athletes to stay within the region, that they will still go to school, even though those regional schools will never play for a national championship. To me, what a lot of those kids that come to these D1 schools, and if you talk about delusional, a lot of those guys might think they can play at the next level.
Mm-hmm.
And the next level will find you. They'll find you at Texas Southern. They'll find you at Prairie View A&M. They'll find you at UNM. They'll find you at New Mexico State. So if you, as a program, have enough exposure and you have at least a few people playing at the next level, you can give those guys, and I hate to say it like this, maybe some false hope of an opportunity to play at the next level. At the very least, you can promise them exposure. So I think that's more of a motivational factor than playing for a national championship. And so therefore, if you drop down divisions, and again, obviously I could be wrong, but then I think you drop down the exposure. I think if you make if you draw a line delineating top echelon from, okay, you guys are the middle echelon, then you greatly reduce the exposure, and then you're going to greatly reduce the guys wanting to come and play for you, because at the FCS championships, I mean, they're on TV, but you don't really hear about them. You don't really see a whole lot of it. But you got the PUBG New Mexico Bowl about to be one of the featured games on ESPN. You have Jerry Palm talking about it. You have all this other exposure, and some of those guys are going to get on national TV for the first time. And who knows? Maybe they might get a shot. So I think that's more of a motivating factor versus playing for a national championship.
I would agree. I think from a player perspective, I think Grady's 100% right. I think they're just looking for that opportunity to play. A couple of things. I mean, and Ned mentioned this in our break. He was talking about, I just wanted to play against USC. I wanted to just play against the people that didn't recruit me. I think that's a huge, huge thing. My question would be, would the exposure really be as limited anymore? Because basically you're taking, I'm going to throw out a number. There's 130 Division I teams. All right, so let's just go half. So you're about basically 65 teams. You're taking them out of this big level picture, right? Well, you still got the Fox Sportses and the ESPNs, and they got to fill content time. They got to fill air time. ESPN's playing Tuesday games and Wednesday games.
The worry is, well, if we classify ourselves as something different, they're just gonna lowball us on the TV offer.
Yeah, I will admit this is one thing in my whole diatribe here about this whole thing. I don't know the money involved. So if the money is so significant for New Mexico to stay at FBS than it is to, again,
try to create something entirely new no
right,
contract.
right. If that's the case, then don't do it. But I got a feeling that there's enough people out there that would say I want to put a national championship playoff on national TV, and I think the ABCs. I mean, like 2 years ago, James Madison played North Dakota State on ABC for the national championship. This year, it's an ESPN2 game, but it's still a national. So there's a lot of factors involved that I haven't necessarily taken into consideration. But as a fan, and Grady's right about the athletes, but as a fan, I want to see my team compete for something which I consider to be relevant, not a bowl game, which I don't consider to be relevant.
Scott Stigler stirring it up on the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Can you beat the pros?
Packers over the Cardinals.
They're not good.
Each week, Jeff.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
When looking for the best experience while buying an all-new Kia, Fiesta Kia offers some of the most knowledgeable and friendly Kia specialists in New Mexico. They'll help you find the Kia that will meet all your expectations. Kias have some of the most affordable vehicles for you to choose from, offering extensive options and style for the price. And with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, Kia won't be beat. Come be a part of the Fiesta family today, 7400 Lomas Boulevard Northeast, or start driving now at fiestakia.com.
Dreaming about that brand new Subaru? You know which one you want, but have you been able to really drive one yet? Whether you're online at fiestasubaru.com or ready to get out and drive the real thing, our Subarus are sanitized and ready to drive. There's never been a better time to fall in love with your new Subaru. So get driving now at Fiesta Subaru on Lomas or online at fiestasubaru.com to schedule your real test drive.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry.
All right, so here's the thing. I understand the system as is. I'm okay with it, but it ain't crazy when you talk about kind of what's happening next with how quickly things have changed in collegiate athletics in a 2-year period. And you wonder, what does that model look like moving forward? At what point does the SEC become 20 teams? And then you have that conversation with like 60 teams and just say, hey, we're going to take football over here. My worry is the Bob Huggins of the world. They can sit down and be quiet because the NCAA tournament works. It's one of the best things in sport.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone knows in basketball it is different. You can go on a run, you can compete at a higher level than trying to figure out how to be the next Cincinnati. That's incredibly difficult to get to a college football playoff. But it is bowl season. It is a fan in Scott Stigler that is watching a team that he roots for, his alma mater, James Madison University, win championships, but now say the allure of FBS football, of that Sunbelt TV deal, whatever it may be, is a step you want to take. And it's a fascinating time of year to have this discussion. And Scott was fired up about it. I'm like, you know what, Scott, come hang out with us for a little bit. Put a microphone in front of you and get you going. JJ Buck, Ned James, Amory with you here on the opening drive. 246-0610 is Equan's Auto Care hotline. Sean, you're on the opening drive. What's up, Sean?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man.
So, it is an interesting kind of, place where you look traditionally at UTEP, UNM, and MSU. Not very good historically as far as football, especially when you're looking at NMSU. There's actually a study done a few years ago on whether or not it was feasible to drop down to FCS for New Mexico State. And it was determined that it wasn't financially, there wasn't a whole lot of financial, it just didn't make financial sense, basically. I mean, you drop down, you take those body bag games, you're getting paid way less because you're at the FCS level. You're going to start losing a lot of fans just because there's this stigma around the FCS. And I think a lot of great football is played there, but it's just, I think that you hang on in Division I as long as you can because, let's face it, they pay the bills. They take these games so that you can have a good basketball program, which I think all three of these schools are. So it's a tough place to be for sure.
Sean, the only thing that I would say to that is, I want people to be very, very clear, because when I brought this up in 2013, people said, you want the Lobos at Division II? No, that's not what I want. I want to create a level between the Alabamas and the Ohio States and the FCS. I don't want New Mexico State in the FCS. I want New Mexico State at that level where they can play New Mexico and they can play UTEP, which they're already doing, but they can play Rice and they can play, I'll go down the list again. All of those group of 5 schools, if they just kind of created their own division, or their own level and their own playoff, I think there would be a lot more excitement, and I don't think you would look down your nose at that, other than if you still have these delusions that you're somehow going to one day be USC or Alabama.
It just appears that football drives the bus, that having the alumni or boosters that back football is what's driving these teams to want to get to this FBS, to get to this money. And it's not, I mean, I talk to the kids a lot on camp. It's interesting because I'm trying to find out what their thinking is on the dynamics of, the pay and all this other thing, all these other new things that are happening. And it was interesting just talking to, a recent grad that, they're not really that concerned with that, the NIL, and that they're more interested in the experience of being a Division I football player and playing college football, which is the essence of the sport.
Yeah, there still is, D1 offer, a D1 offer.
Yeah,
that's still a huge thing. We got someone on the line that is Team Scott Stigler when it comes to this conversation. It's Edward. Good morning, Edward. What's up?
Gentlemen, it's such great subject matter, and Stigler, it's been a long time since we've seen each other, but I hope blessings to you and your family over this holiday season, as well as A-lister, Edward James, and JJ. So thanks for taking my call.
I'm still exactly where you last saw me, so if you want to show up anytime, you can come see me there.
I might just bring a celebratory cake once the Patriots win the Super Bowl.
There you go.
Hey, Ned James, they're not driving the bus. Major College doesn't drive the bus. They manufacture the bus.
It's the bus.
They own the whole fleet. They map out the drive, and they're dropping people off where they want to drop people off. That's the level of leverage they have. Let me preface this real quick because I know you're coming up on a break. I pride myself on 2 major predictions. When Bob Clark ran this show, I said every major sporting event will move to some type of pay-per-view, and essentially it all has. Amazon picking up the NFL next year, and I think within 5 to 7 years, the Super Bowl will probably eventually go to a pay-per-view event. My second contention, which I shared with Ned James about a month ago, is that NCAA will lose all leverage as a sanctioning body, which they have. And the NCAA now has free agency. And they'll lose all leverage, and it's going to fall apart. And it has to crumble and then be rebuilt. I think conventional wisdom with people in our demographic, because I think, Stiggs, you and I and Ned James are kind of in the same demographic. In the movie Star Wars, Yoda says, you must unlearn what you have learned. You must unlearn what you have learned to pick up new concepts and become a master and evolve. We have to adopt that mindset and say, you have to erase from your memory everything that we know about college athletics because it's changing at a pace that we can't keep up with. Stiggs, I am 100% with you on having different levels in the NCAA, because you're right. In the past 50 years, I think the Lobos had a 10-1 season in the early 80s, and they still didn't get invited to a bowl game. They've got no shot, and it's not to disparage the UNM program or New Mexico State or UTEP, or you could name your list of teams. But it's going to crumble, and they should differentiate by classes, if you will, kind of like a high school structure. But I think there's governing dynamics that can occur, and it can appease everybody. So Ned James, he said he wanted to play against USC. So what's to say that you get into your own conference, your own division, and you still are allowed to play the big teams, which edifies that need, and you play for your own championship, which edifies the boosters and alumni, and I think everybody would win. But people just can't grasp that concept because they're too emotionally attached to their belief system, and it's okay, right? But it's going to happen whether people embrace it or not. It's coming at a force that we can't control. And it's going to be interesting how all this plays out. So I'm kind of rooting for it because I don't want to see – think about this real quick, and I know you guys got to let me go. So we're under the concept that New Mexico State goes to Alabama and gets a $1 million check or $2 million check. If you allow things and let those programs generate all kinds of revenue and pay their coaches $100 billion, what's to say they don't pay UNM or New Mexico State $4 to $5 billion to go play those games? Which would break down the current mindset that says, well, it's not lucrative or beneficial. It might be more beneficial. So you go play that game for $3 or $4 or $5 million, which will support all your other programs. You get to play against the best to measure yourself, and then you get to play for your own division championship, or at least have a chance to do it. It's fascinating subject matter. I think we're going to get there quicker than we think, and people either have to get on board and embrace it, or get on the bus, per Ned James's point, or you're going to be left behind. Appreciate you letting me speak my mind. I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you.
And there we go. The money, the buses, who owns them, who's driving them.
But then you have the Steph Currys, the overachievers, Cincinnati in the Final Four. It's that lure for for people chasing that dream, and the unlearned thing in technology. Technology is always advancing, but at the end of the day, you got to have people behind the technology. You've got to, you can have all the technology in the world that they've brought to football and all these advances, but at the end of the day, you got to be able to teach it, and the kid has to be able to learn it. So, there's a lot of different ways you can skin this cat, and I understand where Ed was going with this, but it's that lure of the underdog making it that drives that bus for FBS.
And I think you're right, and that's why the Cincinnati Alabama game is so intriguing, because if Cincinnati hangs with Alabama, there's going to be more of that, right? The New Mexicos out there are going to say, "Well, man, if we just can get whatever."
A&M's wanting to be an FBS.
That's exactly right. And on the other hand, if Alabama squashes Cincinnati like a bug, all the guys up at the top are going to go, why did we let them in? Right. Why did we let them come in? And so in some ways, I'm always a guy that roots for the underdog because I like to see that happen. Right. But in this case, I'm kind of rooting for Alabama to squash the bug because I want to see this thing accelerated, and I want to see it get to a point where we can play at the level that we belong at.
Scott Stigler coming to squash your dreams. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop. Santa Paws has left thousands of holiday gifts for your furry, scaly, and winged family members. Pick up a gift for a pet lover or even a new pet. Clark's has shelves full of pet beds, sweaters, toys and treats, habitats and tanks galore. Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations for all your pet needs. 11200 Manal Northeast or 4914 Lomas Northeast. Clark's is celebrating 50 years. Thanks to you, the Christmas Superstore. ClarksPets.com.
A burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds. International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today
The energy landscape is limitless and ever-changing. Cleaner energy resources are crucial to New Mexico's environment. For 100 years, PNM has utilized cutting-edge technology and employed hard-working New Mexicans to ensure that we have consistent, reliable energy when we need it. For life's loudest moments, quietest moments, and every moment in between. We're dedicated to providing you with energy now and into the future. All you have to do is dream of what to do with it next.
I'm attorney Mo Maestas. I just want to wish all the athletes, coaches, and families a very Merry Christmas this holiday season. Be sure to play hard, play through the clock, and have a great time with your teammates. I've been a trial lawyer in this town for 23 years, so you can get a hold of me at 505-304-7497. But have a very Merry Christmas. God bless. We'll see you in the new year.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Dreaming about that brand new Subaru? You know which one you want, but have you been able to really drive one yet? Whether you're online at fiestasubaru.com or ready to get out and drive the real thing, our Subarus are sanitized and ready to drive. There's never been a better time to fall in love with your new Subaru. So get driving now at Fiesta Subaru on Lomas or online at fiestasubaru.com to schedule your real test drive.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop. Santa Paws has left thousands of holiday gifts for your furry, scaly, and winged family members. Pick up a gift for a pet lover or even a new pet. Clark's has shelves full of pet beds, sweaters, toys and treats, habitats and tanks galore. Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations for all your pet needs. 11200 Manal Northeast or 4914 Lomas Northeast. Clark's is celebrating 50 years. Thanks to you, the Christmas Superstore. ClarksPets.com.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best. TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
The energy landscape is limitless and ever-changing. Cleaner energy resources are crucial to New Mexico's environment. For 100 years, PNM has utilized cutting-edge technology and employed hard-working New Mexicans to ensure that we have consistent, reliable energy when we need it. For life's loudest moments, quietest moments, and every moment in between. We're dedicated. The energy landscape.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport.
It's up next at 10, 95.9 FM and AM 610. The Sports Animal.
Shredding it on a Thursday. JJ Buck, Ned James, Amory, Scott Stigler hanging out in studio. Urban Meyer done in Jacksonville after 13 games. There's not going to be many coaches. We can open it up. We can talk baseball, basketball, go to the NHL. That will be worse hires than Urban Meyer ended up being.
Well,
like he's going to be. There's a select group of coaches that only lasted 13 games in NFL. It's Urban Meyer, Lou Holtz, and Bobby Petrino.
This just shows you though how the media can really get you. If they really want to get you, they can get
Not
you.
the media's fault, Ned. It's Urban's fault.
I know it's Urban's fault, but there's coaches that have done similar, but it just snowballed with him. I mean,
this was every
the
week.
Video. I mean, we didn't have a million high definition cameras,
but now you
like
do.
we do nowadays. Whereas a guy, every little detail of his life is scrutinized, and I'm not condoning anything Urban Meyer did.
For that,
I'm not condoning any of his actions, but at the same time, I do know, when a guy is down, there's not a whole lot of people with a hand to lift him up. There's people
are you
kicking
telling us we shouldn't kick Urban Meyer when he's down, but it's okay to kick the kicker?
No, you don't put your hands on the kids. That's Yaffle 101.
You just go to bars and put your hands on people.
Well, that
maybe you just keep your hands off of everybody. Yeah. Whether it's your punter or
yourself, Urban,
or your daughter's contemporary, whatever.
I can tell a story. I got slapped upside the head. And this was a different time and era. Even though I played 100 years ago, I got hit on the head. I missed a read on an option play, and God rest his soul, Ben Griffith was the offensive coordinator. He comes and smacks me. Now, Dr. Heckle's over at Presbyterian Hospital. He's an orthopedic surgeon. At that time, the medical teams were actually on the sidelines with us. They put him to the side now, and so Dr. Heck was a Olympic swimmer, and he stood in between me and going to punch the heck out of the offensive coordinator for slapping me on the head, for missing a read on the option play. Now, they didn't have a million cameras back then, but, coaches, you can't put your hands on kids, you get fired. But I was out there the next series because I got calmed down by the medical team, and he said, hey, Dad, it's not worth losing your scholarship. But it was a different time, different era, and, was it malicious? Was it, impulsive? Was it right, wrong? Probably not. Grew up in a different age where stuff like that, you got spankings, whatever. But nowadays, you can't do those kind of things.
Bob Knight got fired for doing something that coaches all over America did on a routine basis.
Well, here's the thing.
Right?
Is it better now to be a student athlete because you don't have to put up with that mess? I think there's a difference in coaching. You can coach kids hard. You can hold them accountable.
But are you comparing what Bobby Knight did to what Urban Meyer is doing?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, the kids have better nutrition now. Kids are bigger, stronger, faster. But are they mentally tough?
Yes.
Are they more mentally tough than the guys that came up during the era that I came up in?
It's different.
And Stig came up. Is it different?
Not
less
No,
tough mentally.
My coaches were crazy in high school, and he's coaching at Highland now, one of my coaches at El Dorado, and I was like, I told the whole team, I was like, you guys don't, this is like soft.
Different.
It's so soft.
Okay.
So soft. So even.
Things are different, but I will say not all of us are soft.
Yeah.
Not all of us millennials are
but
soft.
But now, well, they might be.
And not to go to the former, because I didn't get along with him very well, but it was one thing with Bob Davey. I talked to him about this, and he said, Ned, he says, you remember the time when you got a kid out of the projects and you said, hey, man, I'm going to get your son an education, ma'am. I'm going to bring him here and go to school. He says, those days are long gone. He said, Ned, kids nowadays that come in and they want to transfer. The first slight, bump in the road, they want to leave. And the parents would. You could count on the parents. You could grab them and say, "Hey, shake them out of it." Nowadays, he says the parents, they coddle them. They say, "Well, sure, Johnny, you can go to another school. You need to do. You need your wellness is important."
This started as bashing Urban Meyer, not student athletes today, Ned. Don't lose focus.
Okay, I'm not defending Urban Meyer. I'm not condoning violence and touching kids and touching athletes and touching grown men or what have you. But let's not go to the point where we think that he just stabbed the kicker or something like that.
It was just, it's like how do you?
It was in between
such self-awareness.
When an NFL player says it was a 5 out of a 10, you talk about one of the most violent sports there is out there. Okay, he kicked him. He shouldn't have kicked him. He shouldn't have touched him. But did he really touch him? When we call people getting touched, you lay it on the ground.
For Urban Meyer, lacking
self-awareness. Yes, the words you're using are true. It's self-awareness. If you don't understand the new rules, then why are you in a position where you can, break those new rules?
You know why?
Just put us dinosaurs.
Because someone offered him a contract.
Well, that's true.
Put us dinosaurs out the pasture.
I've got to tell you, though.
I think it's tough love anymore.
I've got to tell you, though. When they hired him, I didn't sit there thinking this is going to be a 13-game disaster. I mean, I think Urban Meyer's a pretty good football coach who's got a pretty good track record. Now, whether he can do what he did at college in the NFL is. I heard Ned say earlier today that there's really not a big difference. I think there's a huge difference, don't you?
Between what?
Between coaching in the NFL and coaching college kids?
No, you got to teach. It's no different from teaching middle school. You got to be able to communicate. You got to be able to relate.
Yeah, but
you got to be able to understand. Who you're dealing with. Now,
it's the attitudes, right?
The NFL players can get you fired. The college kids can't get you fired.
Oh, they can get you fired. College kids can get you fired too now.
Interesting.
Only if you're. I would say only if you're doing something.
OEO. They got OEO now. They've got all this. Hey, harassment. Hey,
that kind of stuff. Yeah,
well-being. The coaches.
I mean, just because they don't like the way you coach, I think NFL players can get you fired.
That's Scott Siegler. Always great to talk to you, man. Ned James, Amory. Woo! Fantastic work. I want to thank Danny Gonzalez for joining us. Jerry Palm, CBS Sports. We got the Jim Rome Show coming up next. Colin Cowherd, 2 men on, then Thursday Night Football, then Shoot It a Game. Following that, everybody. Meta World, peace and love. Have a great day. We'll talk tomorrow.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth that's real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Dreaming about that brand new Subaru? You know which one you want, but have you been able to really drive one yet? Whether you're online at fiestasubaru.com or ready to get out and drive the real thing, our Subarus are sanitized and ready to drive. There's never been a better time to fall in love with your new Subaru. So get driving now at Fiesta Subaru on Lomas or online at fiestasubaru.com to schedule your real test drive.
I'm Ben Lucero, president and owner of Indigo Mortgage. We are a locally owned and operated mortgage company right here in New Mexico. This means your loan officers and processors are right here to serve you. Our mortgage divisions include residential, commercial, construction, reverse mortgages, and VA mortgage loan. Indigo Mortgage, because nobody cares more about your mortgage loan.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.